welcome to the Food for Thought podcast, episode 1. This will be a nice little introductions episode with a nice little entryway topic. Welcome to the Open-Minded podcast, basically. So, let's go around clockwise from me. We'll just introduce ourselves, and seeing as how we're college, our major, might as well spark up some discussion in the comments. Zach, start first.
Well, I mean, are people really going to be interested in what we do here?
Yeah, I mean, it's another conversation starter. I mean, why not?
I mean, it's the first one, so like, if they don't care, then they shouldn't watch the first one.
Yeah.
Precisely.
Well, my name is Zach, and I'm a jazz major.
I'm
coming up to college 15 years.
You're 18.
19.
Sorry,
19.
Sorry, you've been in college for 15 years. Sorry,
Yep.
I see we're already on track.
Yes.
Sorry.
Great.
No, I'm a jazz major.
My name is Justin. I am 18, and I'm a creative writing major.
My name is Miranda. I am also 18, and I am also a jazz major.
I'm the host. My name is Michael. 18, art therapy major. I'm looking at 7 years of debt.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Me
right?
too.
Me three.
High five.
Your dad should
High
have...
five.
Debt all around.
Yeah.
My dad was a federal accountant. I'm not going to have to deal with this.
Yeah.
Fair enough, honestly. So, to start things off kind of smoothly, we're going to do a Disney-themed topic this time around. I guess we'll do this in 2 parts. We'll each do our top 5 Disney movies and like a slight explanation of why, because we have 2.5 hours roughly ahead of us.
Yeah, basically.
2.5 hours ahead. So, top 5 and like why, and then the Disney movie that influenced you the most, I guess. It may not be in your top 5 favorites, but it may have been like your first Disney movie or like the one that made you just come to some realization, I guess. So, alright, I guess we should get started with. I don't know. Who wants to start? I guess. There really isn't any reason we have to go any certain
Can I remember mine? I know my number 1 is Little Mermaid, for sure. Number 2 is Beauty and the Beast. Number 3 is Peter Pan. And I have to take a second and remember what the other ones were, because I said them the other day.
I think 4 is Toy Story 2.
4 is Toy Story.
No, but
No,
because remember we were trying to make it so that like we only considered like ones that came out of the Disney studio itself.
Only like theatrical
and
releases,
theatrical
so
releases.
no sequels.
So no sequels.
Because Peter Pan 2 was on my list before, because I love Peter Pan 2, but it can't be.
I mean,
Aladdin was on there.
That was 5, I think.
Aladdin was 5.
Yeah.
So 4 was Toy Story.
No, because that's Pixar.
Aladdin was
Oh,
4, and then 5 was Lion King.
Okay.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that
Yeah.
makes sense.
Okay.
So that is
Well,
my 1 through 5.
We should do something that generates a new list then, because I still remember mine. We should do just anything with the Disney name. So Disney Pixar is allowed and sequels are allowed. Because so many and sequels, yeah. Disney Pixar and sequels. So that's like the entire Disney collection.
All right.
What they did with Pixar.
Okay.
Yeah. So who wants to go first with that, seeing as how we have to generate a whole
Well, let's go with you because I feel like we haven't heard from him.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can
We had
go.
this discussion.
Yeah, I get this discussion.
Yeah.
We had this discussion the other day.
I'm also explaining why. Or are we doing that
I mean,
later?
no, at this point, just like list them
Okay.
off.
All right. So top 5, probably number 1. I'm gonna have to say Beauty and the Beast. Second is Hercules.
Wait, the remake or the original?
Both are fantastic.
Okay.
Which one holds the spot?
The original,
Okay.
for sure.
Okay.
Second one would be Hercules. Great movie. Third is Nightmare Before Christmas. Fourth is...
I'm not surprised.
I know you're not.
Does that count though?
Yes, it is Disney.
It's under Touchstone, right?
Yeah. Touchstone made it, but it's a Disney movie. They published it or whatever.
Fourth is probably going to be...
Song of the South.
No.
probably Fantasia 2000. That's
2000?
Yes, I enjoyed that one very
Really?
much. I loved that one.
More than the OG?
Yes, I loved that one more than the
Really?
original. I did.
Well, we'll get back to that later.
And then
We'll get back to that later.
my 5th one would probably... I think it actually... I don't know if this actually counts as a Disney movie, but it's the Newsies musical, Broadway musical, because it's technically run by Disney.
It counts.
Because there's a movie from
They
it.
own the stuff now, yeah.
Right. So then those are my top 5.
Are we gonna count Star Wars in this as well?
No.
No.
I'll give you that.
I mean, we can.
We can count Star Wars, but if you list it as one of your top 5, then you're stupid.
I mean,
Yeah.
Okay, I can
what
agree
about
with
the
that.
new ones that they made themselves?
Like 7 and 4.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Because those ones are technically they're technically
know.
Disney,
They're
but
not- they're not-
See, in my mind, I'm
Also
thinking it has to be something that was like
originally Disney.
canonically involved with Disney.
Okay. Yeah.
So it could be like the Pixar, it could be
Okay.
the feature canon, it could
All
be
right.
like live action films that are made under Disney itself.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
I mean, Star Wars is great, but like it's not real Disney.
Yeah.
Right.
It would kind of feel
It's
like
not
a cop
Disney
out.
made.
Yeah.
It's just owned by them now.
I could have easily just been like top 5 best Disney movies. Here we go. Episode 5, episode 4, episode 6. Like
Well, okay,
it's
well,
so
it-
much
it-
easier.
Is that the order of your favorites?
At this
5,
point,
4,
yeah.
6?
That could be a completely different podcast.
Definitely
That's-
4 for me. This is actually the only one I would actually like purposefully sit down and watch.
Mm-hmm.
Really?
I would agree with you on that.
Oh, that's interesting.
I would say 4, 6, 5. First ones.
4, 6. Yeah, 'cause mine was, what's mine? It's like 5, 4, 6,
Because the
1.
Ewoks are in
I do like number 1.
Really?
Which
like
one is the
more
one
than
with
3?
the
I like 1 because of the I love the costumes of 1. They have very diverse.
I was just saying that I like 1 more because it sets up things that at least I feel like could be interesting.
Yeah.
You know,
Okay, this
Yeah,
is not the
more proper.
discussion.
Anyway,
Anyway,
back
on
to-
topic.
We've already gone off. It doesn't really matter though.
Because we're technically still on Disney.
This is still technically Disney.
Technically.
But all right, so I
What?
said mine.
Yeah.
If they remember him,
Yeah.
Well, it's gonna be on records.
right?
Yeah,
Everybody
Beauty and the
actually
Beast. And then
Beauty and the Beast, Hercules, Nightmare Before Christmas,
Christmas.
Fantasia 2000,
Right.
and then Newsies, the Broadway musical, which is on Netflix, by the way, for a limited time. I feel like
I have to watch that.
Like
You're
the
gonna make me
like the
watch
recording.
the
of
live action, they're all star cast.
Oh,
Really?
okay.
Present.
By the way, not sponsored.
it. Not sponsored. Yeah.
Not sponsored by anything.
Not sponsored by Disney.
See,
Disney.
We wish,
Sponsor me.
please.
Please.
That would be great.
And then I'll say some anti-Semitic shit, and then you're gonna grab
And then,
that.
and then Disney will immediately sponsor us because that's what their whole.
No, I'm
stigma is.
talking about the PewDiePie thing.
Oh yeah, that too.
His maker's owned by Disney.
Yeah.
Okay.
Now, anyway.
Yeah.
Isn't Maker dissolving though?
I wouldn't know
I
that.
thought Maker was
I
dissolving.
wouldn't know that offhand.
I probably looked that up. I think I've been for a while. So, let's go next. Actually, I want to ask.
Okay.
Hercules at number 2? Really?
Yes.
Yeah.
Why?
It's because I grew up with Beauty and the Beast, and then I just recently found Hercules, and it's jumped very high up my list.
Really?
It
has.
I would expect it would be the other way, where like you grew up with Hercules.
No,
so
I
therefore
hadn't seen Hercules till a couple years ago.
Really?
Oh, wow.
And
because
it's all the way up.
It's very far. It's a
I-
very powerful
I'd
film.
say that's
the music,
actually.
the music in that film is something that I will always really enjoy, and because of that, and because of the jokes that they put in there, everything that the film is and like the story that it tells pushed it to number 2.
Yeah. It's one of those Disney films that, like, is really good when you watch it, but just for some reason wasn't a success. Like Treasure.
Right.
It was a success, though.
It was a very big success, but
it wasn't a big
it
success.
wasn't
Is it like
as
sort of like- is it sort
it's
of like
not
Princess Frog?
it-
where
it's
was
not
like,
as-
it's a success, but it's not like
it's-
Disney success.
it's not as big as it could have been.
Like
Yeah.
Frozen.
We can talk about that later.
Yeah. I guess I.
Remember, we're doing our top 5 worst as well, so
Yeah.
that's gonna have to
Oh,
come up.
5 worst?
I'm sorry, Frozen's coming up in my top 5 worst. It won't be number 1 for the worst.
5 worst?
Anyway.
Yeah, we're
Okay.
doing 5 worst.
I'll have to
think
think.
we'll get to
that later.
All right.
Right.
Okay.
That's interesting though, because I would have figured something like Emperor's New Groove would fill like a spot for Hercules instead. Because for me, they had like that same similar like ancient history. vibe
That's
or
very
whatever.
true, but I'll explain more as to why Emperor's New Groove was not in my top 5 and my top least favorites.
Really.
It's one of my least favorite ones.
Really?
It is one of the
Okay,
least.
okay.
It is
We'll
one of the
get
least.
back
Yeah, we'll get
Yeah,
back to that.
I guess I'll go.
Yeah, go ahead.
I wish you would have not said like Pixar and like live action. Because now I had my list all set up and not. Can I just say what the list was originally?
Yeah,
sure.
And just
Yeah.
maybe like throw out some like names of stuff that I also enjoy that's not in that.
Yeah,
what
sure,
I-
go
what
ahead.
I thought it was
Yeah,
gonna
just
be.
kind of branching out of it.
Number 1's Beauty and the Beast. Number 2's Fantasia.
Which one?
The OG one. Number 3 is The Great Mouse Detective. Number 4 is Alice in Wonderland. And number 5, that switches back and forth between either Aladdin or Pinocchio.
Okay.
At this point, probably Pinocchio, but it might change
Yeah, I forgot The Great Mouse Detective was a movie. I honestly forgot.
That's that joint.
I've heard of it.
I really love that movie.
I've heard of it. I've never seen it, but I've heard of it. I've been meaning to watch
I
it.
think I have it on VHS. But
I have it on VHS too.
Yeah.
We should try over
Find a
Thanksgiving
VHS
weekend.
player.
No. No, I just mean like I don't know, like find a way to transfer VHS to like CD.
I'm sure it's very possible.
Yeah, because
I
people like
suppose
have home
we're-
videos
DVD
on
DVDs.
VHS.
Or just probably buy it online.
Yeah.
Probably, yeah. It's probably on.
I don't know. I kind
Amazon.
of like watching it in that sort of like grungy VHS quality because it's a very grungy film.
That's
the
true.
aesthetic.
Occasionally getting the tracking bar to come up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's a really great video actually online about somebody discussing like the art politics of the VHS format and how like it can somehow enhance art. That the movies you watch with it.
Yeah.
Like he brought up how like Alien becomes even more like terrifying by the fact that it's such a grainy quality that you can barely see anything, which makes you think that the xenomorph's like anywhere at any point at any time. You can never truly see it.
Yeah.
And I feel like maybe that's not to the same level as that, but like the fact that it's like in turn of the century London. And it's very sort of like grimy because it's under like the underbelly of the crime world.
Yeah, so it helps build the theme.
Yeah, totally.
That makes sense. When we got a new TV, one of the first things we watched was the fourth Harry Potter movie, and we saw the graveyard scene, and it was just a little bit laughable because the quality was so much more crisp. You could tell that everything was fake. It was a little disappointing.
It's sort of like the same thing when like you watch like old or like studio movies like Wizard of Oz.
Yeah.
Like everything seems like a bit more like okay, this is clearly on a stage.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. What's the new top 5 then?
I don't think it would be a new top 5. I couldn't really list anything like that. I would just throw out some like names.
That's fine.
Like the big one that I'm thinking of, we're talking about like also like live action and Pixar would be Who Framed Roger Rabbit.
Oh.
That was my favorite movie.
That's
kid.
a good movie.
Who Framed Roger Rabbit's my fucking
It's
jam.
definitely not for the younger kids, but it's.
I
watched
when
it.
did I first watch that movie? When I was like 6 or 7.
I watched it when I was
watched it when I
about
was young. It's
5.
definitely
I watched it when I was about 5, and I was not okay after that.
Were you terrified by it?
I hated it.
Oh.
When I was 5, I hated it. I just watched it recently, and I loved it. But when I was 5, that was one of the worst movies I've ever watched when I was 5 years old.
I think when you're 5, like, and we're just young in general, all the stuff that's funny about or good about that movie kind of goes over your head a little bit.
And you just see the stuff that's not.
Exactly, yeah.
Well, I just liked it because
really.
it was sort of like my favorite movies that I liked watching when I was growing up were always movies that had a sense of like adventure to it.
Mm-hmm.
That's why I loved watching Mouse Detective a lot and like the Star Wars movies and like stuff like that because there would always be that sense of like we're doing this really big grand thing.
Right.
And I always liked seeing that, and that's sort of the same thing with Roger Rabbit. It's like it's even though it's like a mystery, it's still somewhat of like an adventure.
Yeah.
So that's why I always like watching it because I was always like I felt like we're doing all these like crazy escapades and going through all this stuff. That was the reason why. I remember there was one day where like friends came to my front door. And they're like, hey, do you want to go play baseball out by like this like sort of like field area right outside my neighborhood? And I'm like, no. And they're like, why not? Like, Who Framed Roger Rabbit's gonna be on tonight. I'm not missing that.
All right. So
that was like the big one. Like I guess for Pixar, I'd be like Up is my favorite one.
That's a good one.
That's like the only two ones that are outside of like the feature canon that I should really just bring up as like honorable mentions if we were to conclude live action films and Pixar movies.
Of course.
Yeah. You can go, Mike.
Oh, really? Oh, no, actually, Brandon went.
Oh, I forgot Brandon didn't go. I'm sorry.
I'm trying to figure out where, because I definitely want Little Mermaid, Beauty and the Beast, Peter Pan.
Yeah.
And then I think I have to put Finding Nemo in there.
Mm-hmm.
I think Finding Nemo and then Aladdin.
Okay. I respect that. That's a very good film.
Yeah.
Okay.
For like the time, it was actually really impressive.
It was very nice. It was very well done.
Isn't that like the first? Isn't that still the? Is that the highest grossing Pixar movie? Or did Up beat that?
I feel like
I think it's still like the maybe
it's
Finding Dory.
It's one of the
Finding Dory.
Finding Dory might have.
Yeah.
I feel like also Was Inside Out Pixar, or were they just
Inside Out
was just Disney?
No, that was Pixar.
Was that Pixar?
I feel like that would be like top 5 for me. Yeah.
I feel like that.
I forgot Inside Out is a Disney movie.
I feel like that definitely is up there for the highest grossing ones. That was very popular.
Inside Out, really?
It was very popular.
Really well, because that
it won an Oscar.
But like
it won
like
best original animated story. Or
really,
something.
it won best animated.
I think so.
That's incredible.
If I remember,
it
was one of the nominees.
But I mean, like Pixar and Disney kind of have a stranglehold on the best animated feature category.
That's very true.
Like, how many times they've not won? There was Shrek.
Right.
There was Spirited Away, but technically that's distributed by Disney.
That is Disney.
Yeah.
It's
not official Disney, but it's they.
But that was the reason why it got big in America.
Yeah.
John Lasseter and other people at Disney fucking drove hard for that movie to get its Oscar win. I think Wallace and Gromit won one time.
Okay, no, I can see that.
I mean, I guess I could too.
I think that was about it. Like every other like
the years that
movie,
the year that I think Inside Out, that if I remember correctly, if they won, there weren't a lot of animated movies that had come out that year. I think they were mostly all Disney movies that had come out. So it was basically a fight from Disney to see which one won.
Yeah.
I think it was that one. The Good Dinosaur.
Oh yeah.
It was that year.
Well, I think the problem I always have with like the best animated feature category is that they'll also include like adult animated films. Which I kind of like what have been sometimes they've done that like Chrysopolis has got nominated.
Okay.
Time,
but that's still animated, so it makes sense.
Yeah, but like I don't know. I feel like there's a bit of like because I mean I have a problem with the animated feature category on the broader sense of that animation isn't necessarily a genre in my mind. It's a medium.
Okay.
That's like if you said this movie is a 70mm movie because it was filmed on 70mm.
Right.
Camera. Nobody says that.
Yeah.
They say it's a drama. They say it's an action movie. They say it's a da-da-da.
Right.
Whatever. Animation can be all those things. You can't just like qualify it as it's animated. So.
Right.
I feel like the animated features that are nominated should be spread throughout the normal categories like everything else.
I think a couple of them are.
Yeah.
Like Inside Out had best original story as well. I think that's actually.
So they do that as well.
I don't think they won, but they definitely got nominated.
They were nominated for best. They might have actually.
No, they didn't win.
No.
Animated movies will never win outside of its own cul-de-sac.
I feel
I don't think never. I feel like
there's been 3 times when an animated movie has gotten nominated for Best Picture. All 3 times were from Disney properties. It was Beauty and the Beast, Up, and Toy Story 3.
That really?
Yeah.
Okay, I would have thought the original Toy Story 2 would have.
3 is 2 again. 3 is 1 again.
Well, yeah, I don't know.
That's true.
Yeah.
I think the original Toy Story got like an honorary Oscar for
right,
the CGI animated film, but it didn't get like a legitimate like category Oscar.
I think Toy Story 2 personally was the best of them.
That's the best. That's my second favorite Pixar movie.
Yeah, it's one of the best.
Fun fact: Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs got 7 tiny Oscars in honor of the 7 dwarfs.
Oh, that's pretty great.
Cool.
Did you find the information about the
I did. According to BoxOfficeMojo.com, the highest-grossing Pixar film is Finding Dory.
Okay.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then we've got Toy Story 3, then Inside Out, then Finding Nemo, and then Up.
Wow.
Really?
Inside Out was like third highest grossing.
That doesn't surprise me.
356 million.
That was very
Is
popular.
that domestic? Or
I guess, because Inside Out in my mind is like a very.
Okay. Probably was domestic. Yeah.
I guess I was just thinking like in the fact that like Inside Out's such a like cerebral film.
Yeah.
That it would be really weird for that to get like hugely popular.
I mean,
I think it's because it was applicable to almost every group.
Yeah,
it's
like
everyone
parents respected it for being a good-looking, well-written movie. Teenagers respected it for addressing problems that teenagers face in their own life, and then kids loved it because bright colors and cool characters.
And I think it's also adults liked it because of it kind of helps them later explain stuff to kids like younger kids like they could show them that movie and be like that's what's going on when you feel these emotions.
Yeah, that's the kind of
see this is what you're feeling is like this character. That's why, personally, that's also why I liked it, because they put, like, a character to those emotions, and they made it so it's, like, it shows that it's not always, like, black and white. Yeah. It's not always happy, sad.
Yeah, there's a mixture.
Anger, fear. There's always a mixture.
Yeah.
Spoiler alert if you haven't seen the movie.
Yeah, I guess I should throw it up earlier.
Yeah, spoilers!
Spoiler for
Every
everything,
Disney
because
movie.
there's a chance that if you haven't seen it, we're going to talk about it and ruin it for you.
But then again, if you haven't seen some of the Disney movies we've mentioned,
Go see them.
Yeah, because there's some of the originals.
There are very few incredibly bad Disney movies.
There's a couple.
There are a couple.
I can think of the Black Cauldron, Pete's Dragon.
I want to say the Black Cauldron. Black Cauldron's just decided. We'll get to that
That
later.
one song in Pete's Dragon. Isn't
Candle
that
in the Water?
Candle in the Water.
Yes.
Came from?
Yeah.
Okay.
That's
so
a great-
We can't totally shame Pete's Dragon.
We can't completely.
Because that was like my childhood.
And I heard
everything
the
everything else about that movie is really
I heard the
Yeah.
remake was pretty good. I heard the remake was actually decent.
I heard it looked good compared to the original because they used CGI for
Right,
it,
but-
animating it.
But I mean, with the animated
other
dragon,
than
I
that,
feel like
it's
made it
the
look.
same story and ultimately falls flat for the same reason.
That's true. Okay.
I didn't bother to
was
see
it
it.
live
Just saw the
action
original.
with a cartoon dragon?
Yeah,
Yeah,
the original.
It's so cute though.
It is adorable.
Yeah, but then they tried to do that with the good dinosaur. Where
No, they didn't.
they were both CGI in that instance, and that didn't work either.
But their surroundings were also CGI.
Yeah, I know. Yeah,
It's
I'm
just
saying that. Yeah, they went through like okay, they just kind of addressed it like, oh yeah, we did the whole live action animated, and then they do live action CGI all the time. And they're like, okay,
Right.
that probably wouldn't work. So they do all animated, and it doesn't work either.
Okay.
That kind of story where it's like just I don't know, that kind of same duo setup where it's like
No, I get what you're
some
going
kind
at.
of creature and some person typically
Yeah.
doesn't work.
No,
because
I get what you're
between
coming
the
at.
dinosaur, there was no way to write dialogue between a dinosaur and a cave.
That's very true.
Like,
That's very true.
It was I don't know.
You didn't see it though, did you?
Good dinosaur?
Yeah.
No. I watched a couple of reviews though, and as a principle, that doesn't make any sense.
But no, I do understand where you're coming at with that. I didn't see it either, but I do understand where you're coming at from that.
Yeah.
But I do need to see that because I heard it was decent. At least.
Honestly, I guess I should see it.
I saw about half of it, and I thought it was really cute.
Okay.
But Miranda, I want to hear. Did you kind of reformulate your list, or
Yeah, I kept the top three the same,
and then 4 and 5?
and then 4 and 5 are. I'm gonna stick with Finding Nemo and then 11.
Okay.
And then Mike. I guess we have to get.
Yeah, I do.
I might change it like
now
in
that
an
we're-
hour.
Right. Of course.
Look at that.
I think everyone probably will.
That's the point of the discussion. It's like, oh shit, that was a movie.
Wait.
Yeah, I forgot about it.
I guess because we're including Pixar as well, this is gonna change my list pretty substantially.
Yeah.
Number 1 still Aladdin.
Okay.
I love that movie.
Mhm.
2, Nightmare Before Christmas.
Nice.
I really like that movie.
It's a good movie.
It's got that weird claymation charm mixed
Yes.
with like the Disney fantasy.
Yes.
But it's not. I like how gritty it is.
I
Mhm.
would argue that
Violent and
claymation
gritty it
does
is.
not have a charm. Claymation has an element of terror, but anyway.
That's
I don't
the
know.
charm. Exactly.
That's
That's
not the
it's
charm.
inherently creepy. Like that's.
Oh my
But
that's
I
why
understand.
love
Yeah.
Gromit, at least it's like so
No.
uncanny.
That's
Ah.
a
How is-
completely different topic for a
How do
completely
you
different
enjoy
thing.
things that are uncanny?
Because it keeps things interesting.
Do
Like
you
it's visually stimulating at the very least.
Do you like that the kids from Polar Express are soulless?
Okay, no, that's different.
That's another
that's not
time.
claymation, that's just bad, very
That's just
bad
scary.
CGI.
It's
Is
scary.
that a Disney movie?
No.
No? Okay.
But that could be closer to Christmas. That could be a whole nother topic.
Oh yeah,
Christmas movies
films, yeah.
and
That's the next
why
episode.
most of them are terrifying.
I was gonna say terrible.
I was gonna say that as well.
They're both. They
Well,
can be
I'm
terrifying because they're terrible.
What's
Side-
Around Christmas time, you do Christmas film thing.
Christmas films are
It's
terrifying?
like a separate
Well,
topic.
some of them are.
Christmas films, and then talk about how
Like
some of them are terrifying.
certain ones are
Like-
like Polar Express. That ones can be very
Well,
terrifying
Yeah.
at times.
I don't know what y'all talking about.
Anyway,
The rest
let-
of them
some of the like
You
just
know
just
what?
like the some of the concepts that they have like
are. Oh, okay.
that how they present them in the film to me are sometimes a little terrifying.
or like worrisome at the very least. Like
Yes.
like upsetting. Not upsetting because it's about it, but it's not severe. But like
No. Yeah, I get what you're coming at. Like, but
Disturbing.
yeah, that's a good word for it.
It sounds a little extreme, but yeah.
Okay.
that's what it's about.
So number 2 is Nightmare Before Christmas.
Yeah.
Number
Right,
3.
anyway.
Actually, quick sidebar though, while we're on the topic of Christmas movies real fast. The Cat in the Hat Who's Grinch Stole Christmas crossover. Has anyone else seen that?
No. I didn't even know that was
Wait,
a
no,
thing.
yeah, I think I might have. I think I remember that, like, for some reason he was, like, I love the fact that, like, he's just like, I'm not gonna be a dick to the Who's, but, like, that Cat in the Hat dude.
Yeah, I don't like him. Yeah, I just wanted to bring that up in case anyone had seen it, because I think it's a really...
I've seen,
It's a weird one. It's on DVD. Like,
Then
it's
again-
just after VHS stopped being...
Then
a thing,
again,
I guess.
most the live action Dr. Seuss things were pretty.
but no, this is like an old, like, animated.
Oh, was it
thing.
animated?
This is an
Okay.
animated one.
Because they made,
So
like,
I
a
wouldn't
couple
have-
sequels to the original.
I wouldn't
How
even
the
want.
Grinch
I
Stole
wouldn't even
Christmas.
want to see the live action mix between Cat in the Hat.
Oh god,
Grinch-
Mike Myers
Myers
and
and
Jim
Jim
Carrey.
Oh, God. My
I
nightmares.
feel like Jim Carrey could keep
Jim
it
Carrey's
going
one
at the
of your
very least.
nightmares?
No, I'm just saying them in those costumes
Yeah,
in
that
my
would be-
nightmares.
That can be
The live action Cat Hat.
Nightmares.
Apparently,
so
like,
bad.
the day
It's not
they
even-
got Jim Carrey into costume for How the Grinch Stole Christmas, he almost quit because it took them like 4 hours to
Uh-huh.
get
I heard about that.
Every time they were shooting scenes, it was 4 hours of makeup work
Yeah.
on and off because
Uh-huh.
it was that complicated.
Right.
That's crazy. And he's running around in like a fursuit that cannot be like, comfy.
I think he did like Navy SEAL training to get ready for
Oh
that
my
role.
god.
How? What would he need that for? Just to get used
Just-
to moving and all the.
No,
Yeah,
because
shit.
that and the suit is from what I heard, it was very heavy.
And he's like
Oh,
bouncing
really?
around and he's like
Oh,
ripping shit up.
weird.
And...
Fair enough, yeah. It's a fucking weird movie.
Yeah.
Max, fetch me my sedatives.
All
I
right.
watched that movie a lot as a kid, so I know a good chunk of that script.
That's in the kids' movie. Fetch me my sedative.
Oh my god.
It's so. Oh my god.
Okay, Disney
Hey,
movies.
back to Disney.
Yeah.
My number 3.
Oh, we're still on your list?
Yeah, we're still on my list. We're still on my list. Yeah.
Oh, God.
Everyone's got the list but me. I threw it off on a huge tangent. I guess 3 would be. I want to say.
Cars 2.
Shrek.
Cars 2.
I fucking
Oh.
hate all of the Cars movies.
Keep going, keep going.
That's something we could talk
3,
about.
Actually, I'm gonna switch these around. 1 is Aladdin. 2 is Treasure Planet.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then 3 is Nightmare Before
All right,
Christmas.
so we have the same
4 is Inside Out.
3. Okay.
And then 5 is. I want to say it's a tie between Emperor's New Groove and Finding Nemo.
Okay.
And then, actually, if I'm going to do a 3-way tie between Finding Nemo, Emperor's New Groove, and Up.
Okay.
Because they all had that same kind of really
Yeah.
well.
No, I get where you're coming with that.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I get
They all
that.
kind of fit the same bill.
Yeah.
In a way. And especially like Emperor's New Groove. I might just say actually it's Emperor's New Groove. Because I absolutely
Okay.
love the way that movie is animated and how kind
Okay.
of tongue-in-cheek it is the whole time.
Okay.
Just the cool concept of the potions and stuff.
Yeah.
I think
And then Kronk being an idiot is the funniest thing.
I think the guy who directed that movie seems to be really good with his like 2D animation stuff because he did that movie. He did Cats Don't Dance, which is a beautifully animated movie. But his CG stuff is awful because one of the CG movies is actually one of my least favorite, like probably my absolute least favorite Disney movie. But we'll get to that when we get to
Right.
that part.
Yeah. I mean, if we're gonna continue with like the best Disney movies or our favorites at least, which one do you think was like? Actually, no. Let's.
'Cause I thought, weren't we
what
gonna
was
do
the
the-
first Disney movie you've ever seen? I guess.
First,
Yeah.
ooh, I think for me, my first one. Okay, I feel like it was either Snow White or Sleeping Beauty.
Really?
I think it was It was one of those two.
I have no idea. I came out of the womb watching a Disney movie. I have no idea what the first one was.
So you
but
came
I
out,
do
it was
know.
like le poisson, moving around the living room.
Yes, I do have distinct memories of being little watching Disney movies. I lost my first tooth while eating a sandwich and watching Oliver, the one about the little orange cat.
Yes.
I
That was the only time
have a
watched
really
it.
great story about Oliver. I was in preschool and we were watching that movie right when I got in, and they were like right at the end of it. And just in case nobody's seen Oliver in a while, the last shot of Oliver and Company is a pan out of a matte painting of Times Square.
Right.
And if you've ever been to Times Square, you know there's a lot of advertisements. And the one that you can clearly see is Coca-Cola. And for some reason, I don't know why he said this, but I was like, oh, hey, it's Pepsi. And the teacher was like, oh, no, it's Coca-Cola. I'm like, oh, hey, it's Coca-Cola.
All right.
And then I remember when I was in ballet, I was probably about 4 years old, and my grandma was putting mascara on me, and I was trying to watch The Lion King. And that is the other memory I have of being very little,
Okay.
watching Disney movies.
All right.
I'm trying to think as far back as I possibly can. My family's been huge into music and Disney, like especially. So there are like Christmas soundtracks playing in my house constantly around Christmas time. That and Brian Since You Christmas, which is awesome. But the earliest memory I can think of is I think I saw Finding Nemo in theaters actually.
Really?
I was really little.
Okay.
What year was that?
That was
03.
2. That was
So,
3?
yeah, I
I
was
thought that was a
4.
1.
It was 03.
No,
Okay.
yeah, I did see it in theaters, and I saw it in 3D as well. They had 3D back in 03? I think they did.
That was.
Or I'm thinking of a re-showing where they had 3D.
Might have.
I don't remember re-showing because that would be very
That would be.
because
I couldn't do that.
3D didn't become a really big thing until like around the end of the 2000s.
Well, also, I can't see 3D, so.
You can't?
No, so because of my eyes, since one is perfectly
Oh,
good, the other
right.
one's not. I can't see 3D,
Oh, really?
but I can only assume that they'd be terrifying
Probably, yeah.
because like with the
sharks.
anglerfish,
Yeah.
the sharks, the barracuda,
Oh, yeah.
swordfish
Yeah,
thing.
that
It was a barracuda.
Was it barracuda? It was because I remember there was a meme where they showed it was like barracuda. That's the only reason I remember it was barracuda. Yeah.
Fucking barracuda fucking merch.
Fucking Merc.
Merlin's wife.
Merlin's wife and kids. Oh god, that's
Except
Alright.
for one of them.
Except for
Okay.
one of them, yeah. That's the earliest memory. I also remember going to see, yeah. We're in a dorm room right now,
Yeah.
so people are coming in. Come on in. Just get what you need and go. It's good. Peanut gallery.
They're gonna be quiet.
Almost trips over the backpack.
Yeah.
Alright.
But anyway, yeah. I also remember going to see Bugs Life in theaters.
Were you
Was
even
that-
alive in Bug
Wait,
Life was in
wait.
theaters?
I feel like I was.
No.
I think it came out like in '98.
No, it wasn't Bugs Life. It was
Was Bugs Life? Bugs Life was Disney.
It was
It was Pixar.
It was Pixar Disney because I remember because they did
I found
in
one
Toy
of
Story
my-
2 they did they're in their little like cutscene things. They had the Bugs Life characters in one of the little like short funny things at the end of the movie where they're going
Oh,
through
they're doing the bloopers, yeah.
yeah, where they're going through their bloopers. That's another thing I loved about like the Toy Story franchise. They had like the bloopers,
Yeah.
which I feel like made it a very nice, very funny. It made it very like relatable for some reason.
My question though is like,
No, Bugs Life came out in 1998.
Okay.
yeah.
Okay, then I'm thinking of the wrong movie. Maybe I'm thinking of Ants.
That was-
not '98.
that was-
DreamWorks.
Okay, then maybe I was thinking of the wrong moment. I think I saw it at Disney, so I was probably.
Ants is also 1998.
Yeah.
That's-
I know my shit, bro.
That's a weird movie, but we can do DreamWorks another time.
DreamWorks will be like almost all of them are bad except for How to Train Your Dragon and maybe like the first two Shrek movies.
Yeah.
First two
Shrek 2.
The first two Shrek movies, The Road to El Dorado, and.
Oh, Road to El Dorado is
Okay.
Yeah.
But in the same sense, I feel
I
like
would always confuse it with fucking Disney because they look really similar.
Yes, I would also.
I mean, they curse that
Wait,
movie, though,
wait,
don't
though.
they?
Oh,
Wait, though.
I said
Ants
hell
isn't bad.
once. So like,
But you also can't forget, DreamWorks also did The Prince of Egypt.
Yeah,
they did.
That's a
movie,
good one.
That's a very-
That's a really good movie.
That's a very
That's
good movie.
Really not appropriate for kids. I
No,
don't
but
think-
at the same time,
Yeah. I mean, they can say the same thing for like Chicken Run.
oh, that movie.
That movie's weird.
That is the
I don't
darkest movie.
Oh, Mike's
Ooh.
tipping over. Okay. Okay. Hold up.
God, Mike, stop tipping over.
Oh, they did
Guilty.
Kung Fu Panda.
Oh yeah, Kung Fu
The
Panda.
first one's
Yeah.
pretty good. Yeah.
Those are
Two
First one
and
was
two and
terrible.
three.
Were we-
I've never seen three. so it's pretty
okay.
good. Yeah.
They did the Bee movie. I love the Bee movie.
Actually, I unironically love that movie.
Are you serious?
I am not kidding you. I unironically love that movie.
Why?
We can, should we go into that or should we just wait for another
Well,
time?
let's get back to Disney because
Yeah.
this is a whole other animal that we can
We should
discuss.
do it.
DreamWorks is like the next one.
Definitely, yeah.
We should do Christmas movies.
Yes.
Because I'm anxious to talk about Christmas movies.
Oh, definitely, yeah.
Yeah, definitely.
A lot of
Disney
discussion
for
of Christmas Vacation. Yes.
Yeah.
You'll have to show me that because I've never seen it.
Oh, we have the show too.
Yeah, we'll have to.
All right.
The last
That's yeah. So that has to be on the list. The one I want to show you guys is Catch No Dance, which is Warner Brothers. But I just want to show it to you because I don't know, because I just want to see what you guys think.
Surprised that I am right now.
All right. So we've done top 5. We've done first. Were we doing?
I haven't done mine though.
Oh.
What was
Yeah.
yours?
Oh, you haven't done your first ones yet.
Yeah.
You're right.
Oh, yeah.
Well, no, you briefly mentioned it with the Oliver and Company.
Well, yeah, but that wasn't my first.
That wasn't your first.
I just remember watching it. I remember we also, like at my preschool, saw like the Fox and the Hound.
Okay.
Uh,
I forgot that was a movie.
I remember we saw an extremely goofy movie.
Oh, I forgot about the Goofy movies.
Never saw those.
Damn it, those are great.
Don't. I
Well, one
mean,
where Max goes to college is a great one. I like that.
that was.
The first
Nah,
That
no,
was-
no, that's the second one. The second one's not that good. The first one where they go across the country and tries to go see the Power Source show is the one that like is the pretty good one. Yeah.
Okay. So
Max,
then.
you keep working. I'm gonna go masturbate in the field.
Is it a game?
It's a game reference.
Yeah.
It's from the Goofy movie game.
No, it's from the Goof Troop game.
Goof Troop. Goof Troop.
The Goof Troop.
All right. So
Yeah,
I think mine was.
First movie.
I think like the first one I might have watched like at home might have been Dumbo.
Okay.
Oh.
Might have been Dumbo.
Yeah.
I do remember. Well, it wasn't the first movie I saw in theaters. It was the second movie I saw in theaters. I went to go see the Recess movie.
Okay.
There's a theatrical Recess movie.
Oh god, Recess is Disney, you're right.
Yeah, but I don't really think it really counts fully because it was not made by either Pixar or Disney. It was made by one of like their television districts who just put a little bit more budget into it than they would usually do on a typical episode of Recess. And it's a really fucking weird movie.
That whole series is really weird.
No, but like especially so because like there's still a sense of like these are kids, they do kid stuff. They kind of blow it up like as if it's adult stuff, but it never gets like crazy out there. But like this one's like James Wood used to be friends with the principal, and he's trying to like destroy the moon. I think.
Really?
That or he's trying to like fuck up the moon so that it ruins like the tide waves and like wants to decrease flooding.
Pause for dramatic effect.
Yeah.
To steal the moon!
That's what? Who is this?
That was
That's Illumination, which is
Illumination.
Universal.
Universal.
We have to do Universal as well.
No.
I mean, we
That's
could.
gonna be like suck.
Not
every
okay.
single one sucks.
Not.
Actually, not even. I can't think of a good. Like a really good Universal movie.
None of them. I mean, I guess unless we're talking about like Amblin, and we're talking about.
Give me some time. I could find.
Like unless we're talking about like Amblin Universal, where it's like Secret of NIMH.
Wait, are we talking about like quality wise or like favorites, like personal favorites? Because I could find. Okay, quality.
Quality.
Okay.
Because of course there are Universal movies you love.
Right.
Who doesn't love a good Universal?
But it's like I.
But we're talking about like a Universal animated movie.
Okay.
In general. There are thousands though.
Oh, I mean Universal was
animated
good.
Specifically, yeah.
That's true.
Yeah.
Okay.
Anyway, first like, your first was.
Yeah, it's Recess. I guess technically, since it was like a Disney show and they made it into theaters, like I saw that in theaters. But I think Dumbo was the first one, and I think I'll say this: there were a lot of Disney movies I watched for specific scenes, but for some reason I would just subject myself to sitting through the majority of like all of the film. Actually,
right.
Subject is.
That's not the best word for it.
That's an exaggerated term, but I mean, like, I would just sit through these movies just to get to the parts I really like. So, like, 101 Dalmatians, I would just sit through because I wanted to get to the car chase at the end.
Right.
I'm trying to remember another good example. The Sword in the Stone, I would just sit through to get to the fight between Merlin and Madame Mim. And then for Dumbo, I would just watch that movie just to get to the Pink Elephant.
Right.
Because that's such a.
That terrifies me.
But I never was freaked out by it. I thought it was like it was like a really cool thing, and I thought it was like so weird and surreal that they just stopped this movie dead in its tracks and are like, we're just going to do this scene where Timothy and Dumbo get like drunk as fuck.
And fucking delirium.
And just fucking watch like bubbles turn into elephants and do this whole like sequence.
Right.
And it just goes all over the place and what actually happens. And it's like this weird, like, ghoulish song that plays in the background of it that changes at, like, every other bar.
Yes.
It was just so weird. I love just the oddness of this scene in a movie that's at this point, at least when I saw it as a kid, wasn't that strange. Though, to be fair, I watched like a year or two ago, and that's a very weird movie if you ever go back and watch Dumbo. On the primary basis of the fact that, like, it just seems so chaotic.
Right.
That all of these things, it's one of those movies where you're at the perspective of the main character, basically. The way they frame the film and their shots is basically just trying to frame it as if you are Dumbo.
Right.
So it's like all these like really weird sort of like there's a scene where his mother like strangles that guy for making fun of her child.
I forgot about that.
There's the scene where they dress him up as like a little clown baby. Put him at the top
I remember
of the
that.
building, and the clowns are just like flying all over the place, and it's really weird scene, and just like stuff like that that's just very odd and just like very almost surreal in a sense. That just makes you feel like just like freaked out for a while, and then like the only scenes of really big levity in the scenes with Dumbo and his mother, like the ending,
Baby Mine.
Baby Mine song, yeah.
That's
a sweet song.
It's a very sweet song. It's like those are the only scenes of like gravity and just like like you're put back to like the ground, and then as soon as those end, it's like you're just going.
Right.
I found a list of every Disney movie ever made on Disney.com, and did you guys know that there's a High School Musical China movie?
High School Musical China.
Disney World Cinema, High School Musical China, College Dreams. Oh yeah.
What?
This is a China-only release, unfortunately. Wait, High School Musical, the concert, what is that?
Probably just like tapes from like when they took them out.
Did they do live performance?
It might be else. They probably went to go.
It might have been like a reunion or
They
something.
casted tours of concerts, I think.
Yeah.
So they filmed one.
I think it was like the entire cast except for Zac Efron. They got the guy who I think actually sung the parts. Yeah.
Because I think he was probably doing another movie by then.
Yeah.
Was he that big of a deal after High School Musical came out?
That was his big role.
That was his biggest
there was
role.
like at least like a 2 or so year buffer before he started doing like
Baywatch or.
Well, I remember the first big movie that he was in after the High School Musical movies was 17 Again.
Yeah, I remember that movie.
Yeah.
That was not a great
That
movie.
wasn't great.
But I'm just saying that was the first one I remember him being in that was in High School Musical.
Okay.
And that was like 09.
Oh,
Yeah.
Yeah, I forgot Ice Princess was a thing. I love that movie.
You know what Zac Efron was in?
falls
That
on
was
her
like
butt
right
and
around the
her
time that he
butt
was finishing up doing the High School Musical movies.
What?
Me and Orson Welles, which is a Richard Linklater movie where it's him and he gets the role as Lucius in Orson Welles' production of Caesar, the really famous one where they put it into a modern Italian, modern Italy, and they make it a comment on Italian fascism like Benito Mussolini.
I think I saw that.
And it has Zac Efron in it. Claire Danes is in it. Christian McKay plays Orson Welles. They have like a really early role for like Imogen Poots, who plays like this random lady who helps Orson get to the studio for the radio show.
Yeah.
It's like a decent cast, and not like an amazing cast, but it's decent enough. I think Zoe Kazan plays the other love interest for Zac Efron in that movie. It's a really good movie. I remember watching it like a couple days like right before I left for college.
Okay. Let's give us a second of silence because I want to hear like the background noise of that. It's vaguely picking up All-Star in the background.
Oh my god.
Very, very finitely. Wow.
Alright, so
we cut this part out.
Yeah,
we've covered.
That's funny as hell.
No, we're not. We're cutting it out.
Once Upon a Mattress was Disney?
Once Upon a
Oh
Mattress.
my god. Once Upon a Mattress.
Yeah.
Carol Burnett, Tracy
Yeah.
Ullman,
Once
Zoe
Upon a
Deschanel.
Mattress.
Yeah, it's a very famous
Schuster.
musical.
It's great music. Anyway,
I was in it my 8th grade. Oh
my mom played in the pit for that when my high school did that, or a company that my high school, it's around my high school does that. She played oboe for that. I saw it. It was very well done.
That's really interesting.
All right, going back to Disney.
Yeah, back to you have to do your first Disney movie.
I did.
No, he did.
Oh, you did?
We did, everybody.
Oh, we did.
But then I recently remembered that wasn't the first one I saw. That was the first one I remembered. The first one I saw was Lilo and Stitch in theaters, but I didn't even see it because as soon as the movie started, I started screaming because it was so loud. I couldn't deal with it. I was very young when I saw it.
Which is weird because like that movie came out like 2002.
I was about 2 years old right then.
Really?
By then. I had very sensitive hearing when I was younger, so I hated it.
I have
It was so
a late
loud.
birthday, so like whenever people say they were like really young and like stuff that came out between like 02 and 05, it's weird for me because like I was 4 in 2002. So
You were 4 in 2002?
October 02 I turned 4, and that movie came out
October
like
of 02 I turned 3.
I wasn't held
No.
I wasn't.
Right, no.
So
Yeah.
Yeah.
I wasn't held
Okay.
back.
So we did top 5 favorites, first ones. What else do we need to cover?
Well, there really is no need to cover anything. If you wanted to go into our least favorites and start discussing these generally rather than making
The Brave Little Toaster.
Wait.
That's a Disney movie.
Oh, okay.
That brings fond memories.
It's their worst. Okay.
It's
Yeah,
not,
Brave
really,
Little
is it
Toaster.
still on Netflix?
I don't
It better
think
be.
so.
I feel
He's
like
taking all their stuff on Netflix at some point, so I feel like
I know they will be, but Brave Little Toaster was what I've recently checked.
Oh, okay.
I don't know if the
I
original is, but I know
VHS
the Brave Little Toaster Goes to Mars is still on Netflix.
That definitely. I assume
Brave Little Toaster goes to Mars.
It's actually it's weird. I mean, all of them are weird, but
They're all-
they're all.
I think Doug Walker once said Brave Little Toaster Goes to Mars sounds like a bit from The Simpsons, like, you know,
Yeah,
our
no.
movies aren't doing well. We're getting beat by the Brave Little Toaster Goes to Mars.
No. I get what you're saying. All right, so top 5 least favorites.
No, like a general, like, throw out some
general
names.
discussion draw it and
Okay.
discuss it for
All
a
right.
while.
So you throw out a name.
Yeah.
Well, we did discuss this earlier. One of my least favorites is The Emperor's New Groove.
That's right. Yeah,
Yeah.
I wanted to talk to you about that. Actually.
Okay.
Because I think you and I are going to lead this portion of the discussion.
Yeah, probably.
Yeah, so why don't you like it? Because it's
To me personally, I haven't seen it in a very long time, but when I did see it, I found it very. I saw this when I was like 11 or 12, mind you. I found it very immature and very, very scattered. Personally, to me, I found it very.
Scattered.
I found it very
scattered.
scattered.
In what sense?
Like
Yeah.
there wasn't a. I didn't find a very strong plot.
Yeah. It
It's-
bounced around.
And to
kinda-
me,
it does bounce
to
around
me,
a lot.
to me personally, I also didn't like. I'm trying to remember. Yeah, because they just freeze it, and then he would like go in with like the marker.
Oh yeah, that kind of
I
thing.
hated that
Yeah.
for some reason. I absolutely hated that, and it really bothered me to the point where I'm like, I'm not gonna watch this again. I hated that.
I think the main reason some people don't like it is because of the fact that it's such a break from what Disney usually does.
That's also true.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
Like that, and maybe even like something like Lilo and Stitch is such a sardonic film, and like just make fun of themselves so much that people feel like, well, no, you're Disney. You're supposed to be pure and authentic.
That's true.
When you kind of start taking the piss out of yourself,
Mm-hmm.
you know, it kind of like ruins the whole
Right.
like the whole idea of what Disney stands for. That
Right.
they're supposed to be like, no, we stand behind every single decision we make. You know.
Yeah.
Now, don't get me wrong. There are certain parts of the movie that I love. Like, for instance, this could be a whole other podcast by itself. Is the Disney villains?
Oh yeah.
Yzma is one of.
He's great.
Yzma. How would you say it? She is a great villain.
She is.
She actually has like a motive. A lot of Disney villains don't have
They're
motives
just
that aren't strong.
I like-
Hers was actually, she wanted to get Cusco out of the way to take the throne.
Exactly. Yeah.
Which, it personally for me, I find that great because like she actually had a purpose and she carried through the plan and she got what she wanted,
and then
and then it was taken away from her.
Yeah. Exactly.
But personally for me, I find that great because like she accomplished something, which most villains don't.
Yeah.
That's why she's one of my top
Or they have
5.
these like, really ambiguous goals that don't really carry. any
Right,
weight.
that's why-
Yzma is just, like, actively.
That's
like,
why
not
she's
only-
one
not
of
only,
the-
like,
yeah.
constantly being sought after in a very prominent way, but also is actually fulfilled at some point.
Yes.
Which makes it really interesting. Because
Yes.
normally the villains don't win at all.
Right.
Or come close to winning and then actually.
And then
just
it's
like a
ripped out from
throwaway.
underneath them.
I love that scene. Well, you ain't getting better.
Oh, it can't get any better, and it just converts all the.
Well, I want to discuss the validity of that statement, though. That like there are only a couple of like Disney villains that have like concrete goals.
I've been trying to
Well,
think
well,
of some
before you
that
start
don't.
with
I
it,
can't
I
think of any.
I mean, the only reason Gaston went kind of bad was because he wanted a girl. That's no reason to go kill somebody for that.
Yeah, exactly.
There's no reason to kill somebody to get a girl.
It's very pompous. It's not relatable.
It's more-
Or it's not necessarily. It's not relatable. It's more or less that it's
Right.
just like a very short-sighted. thought.
Okay, but it's not that like Belle fell in love with this guy, so he went to kill her. It's a monster. So of
Yeah.
course he's like, oh my god, there's this monster on the loose. What
And
the
he
hell
stole
am I
my
gonna do?"
girl.
Yeah, and like she would rather
Right.
be with a monster than with me.
And then another.
So there's an element.
I
Of
like
xenophobia.
Maleficent's
That's-
purpose, where it's
Yeah.
just, hey, you
She wasn't
snubbed me at your
invited.
daughter's birthday. I'm gonna fucking like get a wheel, and then she's gonna turn 16 and like touch it, and then just coma instantly.
Well, originally she was going to die.
Yeah.
She was originally going to die, but then one of the fairies, her gift was that she doesn't die. She just goes into eternal slumber.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
She was Maleficent was originally going to kill her.
My slumber.
Okay, let's see. Another villain, like.
Well, we're really
Not-
important because I know where this is going to be a really
Right.
big discussion. I want to stay on Emperor's New Groove for a quick sec.
Yeah,
okay.
Because I agree. Like as a kid, like those pullaways from the movie that are like really weird and self-aware, and he's like,
Yeah.
"Hey, this is me, by the way," or whatever.
Right.
This is the movie is about me, not him. They put like the X cross out.
Yeah.
Like, I thought that was a really unique and clever way to do it, and I feel like because it broke away from Disney so much, and I really hadn't seen very many Disney movies that were older, like Renaissance movies prior to that.
Right.
I just picked up on it. And thought it was
Right.
great.
I can get that.
Not to mention, I think it deserves a lot of respect for the way it's animated with a very fine touches of CGI and like banners and stuff, and then they go back to being animated.
No,
It's
yeah,
all
I
very
get that
carefully
too.
thought out. Plus, there's a couple of really good jokes for like teenagers in there.
Right.
As well. Like,
Just
like an old
person-
man getting kicked out of a window. Who doesn't love that?
Right. But just personally for me, I just didn't really enjoy.
I'm sorry.
I just didn't enjoy
I'm
that
sorry,
movie.
but you thrown off the Emperor's Groove.
Yeah, I just personally didn't enjoy that movie.
That's fair enough. Yeah.
I feel like there were definitely good parts of the movie, but overall,
didn't
I would
say
not count it as I put it in my worst category instead of my favorites category.
Yeah.
I just don't really like Cusco that much. I don't really remember the
I guess
movie
that's
Uh-huh.
the point, though.
Yeah.
I
No one
watched Emperor's New School, that one TV show.
Oh, that was okay.
And then he's so obnoxious and self-centered.
That was really the weird thing about that. Like, it kind of disturbs the point of the movie where he learns, like, to be a bit more selfless.
Yeah.
And it's like, well, people liked it when he was selfish, so.
Does he actually end up learning to be more selfless?
Yeah, he does.
Yeah, because
Okay.
then they don't build, because the whole conceit of that movie was that,
He builds Cusco Land.
well, he's gonna build Cusco
Cuscotopia.
Land
Cuscotopia.
on the top of this hill where
Pacha lives.
Pacha lives.
Yeah.
And then instead he just doesn't he just live with the Pacha family?
He like it's like a vacation. He just basically just lives with them. It's like a family.
Like a cottage.
Yeah.
No, I was
Yeah.
talking about more like the Emperor's New Groove or Emperor's New School TV show.
Oh no, he doesn't.
No,
He's just an asshole the entire time.
Okay. Because I watched like 3 episodes of that and I'm like,
They're
no,
like teenagers.
Yeah.
that was a
Or was it
weird
before?
ass.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
I've-
Okay, then that makes sense. I was like, that doesn't make any sense. But it's whatever.
Okay. So that's one of mine. I have a couple others that I could list off, but I want to hear other people's
Yeah,
first.
We'll go around a couple.
Yeah.
Just go back to them.
What do I not like? I just don't watch a lot of Disney movies that I don't like.
Right.
No.
Yeah, I get.
Like, why would I watch something that's bad?
Yeah.
Exactly.
Come back to me.
Okay.
Okay.
Mike?
I actually wasn't a super huge fan of, and this is gonna crucify me, even though you're a Renaissance fan.
I'm actually a Renaissance. I'm actually like a really big like 40s,
I am
50s.
definitely a Renaissance.
Yeah.
I'm also-
Brandon will probably get more upset.
It's-
about it than I will.
It depends. Just say it first, and then we'll see how upset
What
people
is
get.
I actually not technically Renaissance. Snow White. I really don't like Snow
Oh,
White.
yeah.
Okay.
It's the worst.
I can.
I feel like it's a very floaty
Okay,
movie.
but there are certain parts like the fact that they went through and while she's like running away screaming, they went through and made all those different faces. And,
Oh,
like,
yeah.
that's fantastic.
Yeah,
but
I'm
like
not
I get what you're saying about like how it's kind of like
Yeah.
floaty.
I don't think it's
But
a
like
bad
overall,
movie.
it's a great movie. But it's just
Yeah.
it doesn't. I think since it was also one of their first. It was one of the first ones that
Yeah,
they released
it's so-
well.
yeah.
It was that
That
length.
was their first major release, correct?
That was
their first feature film.
First
yes.
feature film, yeah.
I can see
So, like,
why it's
yeah.
not as good as some of the newer ones because like
Well,
it's.
it was their
No,
first
no,
feature
no.
film, but it was the first animated.
No, it was not.
It was not because there was Steve
There was
Willie.
the
Uh,
Tale of Prince Ahmed. It was from 1925, a German film that was done with silhouette puppets.
Oh.
Yeah. First one that we know that survived. Still, there were 2 ones before that.
Well, I mean, like,
Prince Ahmed. No, there was one before Prince Ahmed, and that one doesn't exist. There might have been another one, but I'm not sure about that. And then Prince Ahmed came out, and then there wouldn't be another feature animated film until Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs.
I mean,
But
like Disney did
that-
like a couple animated things like Steamboat Willie and stuff like that.
Well, those are shorts.
Right, they're
Exactly.
shorts.
You do it, you're like leaning back in the chair and like, sorry.
I don't know,
Sorry.
I
Anyway.
appreciate
But,
it.
Speaking of Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs, when I was little, I didn't know how to say dwarves, so I called it Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs.
Dwarfs.
The dwarfs.
All right, so
But,
Like D-O-R-F. Dwarf.
It's honestly adorable.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
Christmas music loudly in the background. Whoa. I guess for me, I won't like bash Snow White for being like technically worse than new Disney movies because it's for the time period it's incredibly impressive. It's absolutely like a
I would still
just,
say that
for
it's
me that kind of typical like princess, evil witch wants to kill them. Like the whole story for me never does much. And the way it's conveyed is done really well. I just can't stick with it because it feels very floaty for me.
I get
the dwarves don't need to be in that movie. You could have one person who plays all 7 of those dwarves.
That's very true.
And like, there's so many things that they could have just. I don't know. I mean, like, if they wanted to represent, it's like a fantasy aspect. It doesn't fit in like a traditional English fantasy style, and it also doesn't really fill in space. There's someone at the door. God damn it! It doesn't really fill in space in like a new age or like an adaptation. So that was glorious. But yeah, Snow White. It just doesn't fit.
So anyway,
hard transition. So anyway, segues are weird.
Stop. Leave.
What, you don't like Bo Burnham?
No, I'm just saying leave your own show. Just go. Bye.
So someone's got beat up.
Probably.
Anyway, but it doesn't feel like Snow White fits in like it's a break from traditional fantasy where it's prince saves princess.
Right. No, I get that.
Dwarf save princess, which is interesting, but I don't feel like it breaks it enough to make it an endearing change.
Right.
Because the way everything else flows out is like...
Yeah, no, I understand that.
It's like they replaced one character with 7 that are individual representations of what a character would be.
No, I understand.
I think that's just from the original Grimm tale, though.
That's also true.
I think
Grimm's Fairy Tale did Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs.
I mean, Snow White's actually one of the most faithful adaptations to
well,
source work.
It's very faithful, but at the same time, you get to the point where it's like you can't include some of the things that happened in that story.
Well, I mean, faithful to how much Disney can actually be faithful to.
Right, that's what I'm saying. It's
German
very
tale.
true.
Yeah.
All right, so
no, I was just
the
thing that I always that I always like to think about when I think about the first, especially the first 5 Disney films, which are Snow White, Pinocchio, Fantasia, Dumbo, and Bambi, is that they're kind of on the idea that you want to watch a story that follows an emotional arc and not a logistical arc. So therefore, you want things to turn out in the way that you feel like will be the most emotionally satisfying, not in the way that you feel like would actually happen in a set of rules that you set for a world. The fact that if you look at it at a logistic level, it makes no sense why Snow White would just all of a sudden be like, "Oh, you resurrected me. Time to get married."
Yeah.
But it makes sense on an emotional level because you just go through the whole thing of she
almost died,
and then you go and you kill the witch, and then you think, well, she's still dead, and then somebody saves her. So it's like this really big jubilee.
right,
like,
yeah.
It's all based on an emotional crux, which I guess now doesn't make any sense because movies haven't run on emotional logic in a very long period of time.
Yeah. But yeah, Snow White.
So I feel like we're wrapping with Snow White, and we should move on to the next one.
Yeah. Brandon, do you have
No, I didn't. She already did hers.
No, she didn't. She didn't say one.
She said, "Come back to me."
I still can't think of it.
I got one.
All right.
I got one.
Okay, I'm excited to hear this one.
You're looking at me like I'm gonna hate it.
I mean, I don't know. Probably everyone's gonna hate it. Chicken Little.
I don't know.
No, I did not like that either.
Agree with that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I actually really agree with that.
I mean, there are certain aspects of it that are great, but like overall, it was just bad.
I like that one song from it. What's that one song?
End of the World as We Know It by Rihanna.
Yeah!
Yeah, that's a good song.
I mean,
That's the only
that's
part
not.
I
I mean, they didn't write it for that movie.
And
Yeah.
also when
Slice
they
it,
go
bitch.
shake your tail feather and then they all shake their butts and it's funny.
I mean, yeah,
Yes, yeah, they're
I
like
think it's in the credits.
overall,
That's the only
it's
part.
just I feel like they took the story. They thought they could take the story and they could make it good. And,
Actually, you know what? I didn't think it was that bad.
but overall,
I'm
I mean, like
remembering it now.
it was
I
a
don't think
decent
it's that
movie,
bad.
but overall, I feel like they didn't pull off the concept as well as they could have. There were definitely parts that they should have done better.
I feel like they tried to modernize it too much.
Yeah,
Apply it to
that's
a
what I
very
think- that's
young
what I'm
audience
thinking.
They didn't completely understand.
I
feel like
liked
it's a
it.
pretty typical explanation.
Yeah.
I'm gonna change. I liked Chicken Little. I remember
Okay.
now, like when I was little and I watched it, there was part of it that kind of freaked me out a little bit when the thing was in their room and they were like trying to figure out what it was because it was aliens. But like, it was kind of funny.
I'll have to rewatch it. I haven't watched it in a while.
The thing that I just hated about it so much was that it's such a mean-spirited movie.
That's true.
I can't get behind something that just dislikes its main character so much.
That's very true.
Yeah.
Such arbitrary reasons.
Yeah. I think it's supposed to endear people to him.
Yeah, but then I'm just
they go so
an
hard
asshole.
on it. Like everyone turns on him. It's like
All right.
I think that's why
It's a
I liked
child,
it, because it
Jesus
made
Christ.
me so emotional.
That's definitely good. Could be a good reason
I
why.
love movies that make me very sad, and I don't know why, but I do. And I can relate to Chicken Little when I was little. I had no friends, so like it made sense to me, and it made me sad. But then in the end, they're like, "Oh my gosh, Chicken Little was right," and they all shake their tail feathers. So like,
There was the movie scene at the end where they get Adam West to play Chicken Little.
rest in peace to Adam West.
Yeah, yo, shout out to my dude Adam West.
Yeah.
All right. Okay.
I feel like there's more we could say about that. But
There's definitely more. I would have to rewatch it first because I haven't seen it in a very long time. I think it's on Netflix.
I want to bring up this though because one of the other ones that I really don't like is one that he put on his top 5 list.
Let's go on another circle.
All right.
Because we're gonna go off on tangents.
Okay. Another one. Okay. I had it, and I remember if I say this, I'm probably gonna get hit multiple times for saying this.
Yeah.
I'm blanking on the name. Shit.
What decade?
Yeah.
Oh wait, no, that wasn't it.
What happened?
Okay, never mind. No, I know I'm gonna get hit by at least one person. I hated Treasure Planet. I hated it.
You piece of shit.
Yeah, I know. That's I
totally
absolutely hated it.
What was it about it that you didn't like?
I just thought
I also like the song in that one.
I like certain parts. Again, I like certain parts.
Yeah.
But overall, to me, I found that just a little too relatable to other ones. It was it felt like a kind of a spin-off of it felt like a mix of Aladdin, and then Atlantis, and then I felt like it was just a mix of too many things. They were trying to spin off too many different stories, and to me, I just did not enjoy that. Personally, it was just way too for me. Personally, for me, it was scattered. It was. I didn't like the dialogue in it. I just didn't like the whole story.
I guess it kind of makes sense because the funny is when you say this, it feels a lot like Aladdin because the directors who worked on that film actually worked on Aladdin and Hercules, a lot of other really popular films, and Little Mermaid, yeah, and all these popular films that are kind of similar, the way that they're structured, the way that the characters are.
Right. It's just because the main character is such an outcast. He's like Aladdin because he's technically a criminal.
An outcast.
He's technically he's like Aladdin as he's a criminal. Technically.
Yeah, he's like a vigilante.
Right. That's what, and it's right, and then there's certain great there's great quotes from that movie that are very inspirational.
Yeah.
But overall,
there's one of the best transitions in animated movie history.
That's the one. That's the one where it cuts to him as a child reading the book, and then it cuts to him
on the glider.
Yeah.
It's this beautiful transition.
No, I appreciate that
scene
but
so much.
The character, personally for me, the character design, the way that they're the dialogue that they give out, I couldn't get hooked into it.
That's fair enough.
I would say it's a combination of Aladdin and Lilo and Stitch.
Kind of.
Yes.
I was thinking more like Aladdin and Atlantis when he said that. I'm like, that seems legit.
Is Atlantis a Disney movie or is that?
Yes.
Okay.
Atlantis is a Disney movie.
It's one of the few forgotten ones. It's very.
I didn't forget it.
The thing that I always. I don't want to say dislike, but the thing I always never really was too keen on was that I always felt like it was sort of at odds with whether or not it wanted to be this really serious down to earth movie, or if it wanted to be this. Hey, we're doing all this cool edgy stuff. It's a fucking waveboard and
right.
We have John Resnick from the Goo Goo Dolls 5 years after anybody gave a shit about the Goo Goo Dolls.
Right. No, I understand that.
It's just there's certain things that I feel and that's of course you talk to Musker and Clements and they say no, we want a Resnick song, we wanted to make it sort of edgy for early 2000s tween early teen audience. Mm-hmm. But I feel that those things always stem of Disney corporate. Eisner was just well, no kid wants to go see this. They want to see they want to see the usual typical Disney fare. So instead, market a little bit older and do, and you know, in Eisner's great wisdom, he says all this stupid shit, and that's why, you know, Treasure Planet didn't perform well enough in the box office.
Yeah.
Okay.
I think what I think I like the most about that movie is it is kind of, it's not like an inherently cliche story, but it does take a lot of the same elements, so it does seem a little samey if you've seen all of them. I really do like how they blend CG and like CG hand-drawn animation, and then what was the technology that they used for a lot of the environments?
It was a sort of like, it was like a sort of,
right?
it was like a CG, it was what they basically did, they would do a CG model of something that would have a camera, and then they would just move around the camera, and then they would draw on to...
superimpose the character.
Right, a good example of that is
CGI
it's like, I think, he's referring to a video that talks about this film at length. And they're referring, the thing that they referenced that had used that technology before Treasure Planet was Tarzan, where it's the scene where he's like going through the vines and he's under the tree and he looks at the camera.
In the introduction and in the end scene when James says stuff.
Yeah, basically.
That's another film I would like to talk about, but not as a bad one. Was it a good one? I thoroughly enjoyed the Tarzan movie. I thoroughly enjoyed it.
I don't think I've seen it recently enough to weigh in on that. Actually.
It's alright. It's not one of my favorites.
It's not. Yeah, it's definitely.
I actually don't really like it.
It's not
bottom five.
It's not one of my top 5 favorites, but it's definitely up there. It's definitely like top 15 for sure. It's It's a very great. It's got great music. It's got a great like story.
Yeah.
How it's like you don't have to be the same to fit in.
Yeah,
basically.
or to find love, I guess.
Right. Yes.
Blatant reading of that. Yeah.
All right. So I'm done with.
Planet. Yeah, I mean, that's a pretty decent way to break it down.
All right.
It's interesting.
Those are two of my.
I think I like Treasure Planet for the same reason I like Aladdin, because like the characters. Really
Oh no, don't get me wrong. I love Aladdin, but it's
cool.
For me, Treasure
I love
Planet.
the sci-fi setting.
That's another thing I didn't like. I said I didn't like the sci-fi setting. I feel like. I mean, I get it. I feel like it made sense, but personally, to me, the sci-fi setting kind of threw it off for me. Just for me.
You just want to have like a normal adaptation of Treasure Island.
Because there was a live action version.
Right, I've seen that, but it's I don't know what I was looking for. I watched it and I just was thoroughly disappointed.
You just got a gut feeling that said I don't really enjoy it.
Yeah,
sometimes you just go see those movies where you just don't like it, but you can't really articulate why.
Yeah,
but you did a good enough job to a point where I feel like I'm not going to give you shit for not.
I'm not going to give you shit for it.
I mean, you're still going to give me shit for it. Off mic, you will.
Off mic, maybe. Yeah.
All right. Ooh, Miranda's back. Wait, Miranda.
I remember one that I don't like.
What is it?
Lion King 1.5.
Oh,
okay.
Lion King 1.5
This is where I'm actually a little irked.
You suck. Lion King 1.5 is garbage.
No, it's not.
There's
it's
no
really interesting.
content.
Because it gives you like a backstory on Timon and Pumbaa.
Yeah, but it's kind of gimmicky though.
I have to agree with Miranda. It's not a great film, but I'm not gonna say it's the worst thing I've ever seen. I enjoyed it for the comedy. I didn't enjoy it for the story.
I think that
because I'm not a 6-year-old boy. Sorry, it's all fart jokes.
That's also true.
It's just farting. The whole thing is just farting, and I'm like, this isn't funny.
A lot of Shrek has a ton of fart jokes.
That's also, but Shrek is
like
okay.
I guess there's more to Shrek than
there's more to Shrek than we can fit into a probably like a we could go on for about Shrek for 10 hours
exactly
at least.
But like. I guess you're right. I just grew up with that was the movie. That was the sequel. I grew up with. Lion King 2.
Yeah.
So I guess that's why I like that one so much. And I think it's really cool.
Oh shit! I forgot about Lion King 2. We might have to do a second Disney podcast because like I feel like
we're only at like an hour and 12.
All right, we'll loop around back to Lion King 2 because
I actually have a question that I wanted to ask, but we'll get done with it once we feel like we've exhausted the worst category.
Okay, because I feel like we should go back to the best categories. We don't end it on a sour note.
Totally.
Because I have so much to talk about.
Yeah, there are so many
favorites.
great Disney movies. Like you can just keep
like
going about
just my favorites. I have so many.
Yeah, I feel like no one talks about the worst ones. Like they talk
Right.
about the obvious flops, like the Black Hole.
Oh, I have a good one. Wait, well, Mike, you go.
Mike, yeah,
first,
you.
but I
What's your
have a
second?
really good one though.
Well, I feel like we were talking earlier about one that you wanted to say, but like.
I can't remember what it was. Oh, yeah, there was one that came into my head. That came into my head later.
I feel like it's not the one I'm thinking of that you're thinking of.
I can't remember. So much has happened since we started.
That is true. I remember you briefly mentioned Frozen.
I did mention Frozen, and I did want to talk about it.
Okay.
You want to talk about Frozen now?
Yeah.
Let's talk about Frozen.
Let's talk about Frozen, guys. All right.
1.5 years.
Randy's like claws out right now.
I just like how Timon is a story. Frozen, I don't think is an inherently good movie at all.
Really?
No.
Okay.
The animation is really subpar.
Really?
The characters are very campy. They're obvious tropes. They try to throw in an antagonist part of the way through. With the first part of the movie, they make him seem like a good guy. You're like, oh, cool, it's a cool following love story. And then he becomes an asshole halfway through when Anna needs help. And the whole Elsa's personal empowerment thing is great, but she's actually killing people, so it doesn't really justify her being super powerful.
Is she actually
She's
killing
freezing them. They're dead.
Okay.
Anyway.
Because they don't actually end up showing that.
Well, of course they don't. They're Disney.
Because, like...
It's just an amalgamation of ideas that don't fit together. It's like putting the wrong pieces of a puzzle together.
No, okay. No, I totally understand where you're coming from.
Yeah, because, like, there's the troll scenes, which are kind of interesting because they hint at, like, this very, like, this cool, greater level of
understanding
lore that's in the world, but they don't build on it. All they talk about is the trolls. And then the trolls
Frozen
have, like,
2 is coming out, and they'll probably talk about the trolls.
Can't wait for that to be shit.
Fuck you, Michael.
Whoa. Okay. Wait. No, but she does bring up a fair point. It is coming out not very soon, but it's coming out, and I'm actually kind of excited to see where they go with it because I feel like they left it out. They didn't really leave it room for it to be like to continue on. So was it going to be like? What I would love for them to do is either to go in more detail on the trolls, or to go into that that period of time where she was locked in her room.
Yeah.
I want to go into more detail about that.
Just build on the world a bit.
Or like have them be older, and have like Anna go to the trolls, and be like, why can't I remember these memories? Why can't I remember these?
She tries to seek her own memories back out. And
then
go away with Anna or Elsa.
And then Elsa explains, and then it goes into a backstory of like that time.
Yeah, exactly.
Like instead of just a song,
that would be
that would be great.
Because that would mean that Frozen 2 is just the basic equivalency of like a sitcom clip show where it's like, remember the time?
Yeah, I guess.
That's true, but like
ultimately, I mean, the first Frozen movie just it misses a lot of the really high points that I think movies like Tangled had.
Okay.
Tangled is a huge influence on Frozen. It's very obvious. And it seems like they tried to accomplish a lot of the same ideas.
I think
they couldn't do it because the same story arcs don't fit together.
No, yeah, I totally.
And a Princess Locked Away.
Same at all.
They're very similar.
All right, wait.
I think the stories are just lined up kind of in the same way. Like they're locked away. I understand where you're coming from.
I think
she's shunned for the special power, or like she's misused for it. And there's like the ultimate point is that there's a similar point where there's confusion about whether or not like she's a good person or a bad person. She gets locked away or like in some way mistreated.
There's no confusion about whether she's a good person or a bad person. Rapunzel is a good character.
I think what he's trying to get, I'm not sure if I agree with everything he said, but I think what he's trying to get at is that both Tangle and Frozen are in the main DNA of the film trying to deconstruct the trope of the prince-princess Disney film.
Yes.
Yeah.
And Michael feels that Tangle already kind of nailed it on that.
But did it really?
Exactly.
Because she was technically still saved by a man.
She was still saved by Prince Charming.
But also
Prince Charming in Frozen.
That's true. But I think the main problem is that
you could argue that it's the one tribesman guy. I can't remember his name. Kristoff.
But no, because she was saved by Anna was saved by Elsa. Yeah. In the end, she was brought back.
There's also the sense that Rapunzel has like a sense of autonomy within the relationship, because there's a scene at the end where they say like, we were going to get married, something like that, and after many, many times of asking, I finally said yes, this is from Flynn.
Just like, actually, I asked you. Right?
Yeah.
Eugene.
Yeah.
Eugene. Yeah.
It's. I think the main thing that I saw that I liked about Tangled is that, and I haven't seen Tangled in a long time, so I can't really.
It's in my room.
Okay.
Can't really like comment on whether or not
we'll have to watch that because I haven't seen it in a very long time.
Tangled did this as well, but one thing I remember from Frozen that always irked me was that they would just frequently like in text, reference the fact that they felt like, oh, you're getting married after just meeting him? That's great! Like, it's just like, okay, I get it, but you don't have to be so, like, upfront about, like, how that's weird.
Scene.
Oh, there were, like, 2 or 3 at least that they mentioned.
There were a couple, but, I do understand where you're coming with that. Like, that did slightly irk me, because, like, it's been, like, a lot of people have been saying that throughout. They're just like, oh, you can't marry a man you just met. Because every Disney princess has basically been like that.
Exactly.
But then they finally put it into words.
Who actually are like that.
Yeah.
Because, maybe Sleeping Beauty, Snow White, but, like, Beauty and the Beast, they were probably in that castle for a couple of months before they actually fell in love.
Then there's Cinderella, though, where it's actually just that.
Yeah, or, I'm assuming Aladdin takes place over a couple of months before it finally really starts.
Easily.
In theory, yes.
But there's a good set, especially like from the Renaissance films. There's a good period of time before the main character falls in love with the female lead, or vice versa.
Yeah.
And so, because of that, I just never got like the idea of why it needs to be so on the head of like, why are you getting married, after da-ba-da-ba-da, and stuff like that, and whatever. And it just never seemed to, I never liked the idea of just being like, we're really going to hammer this on the head that we're not like what we were before, when in fact they had already kind of like bumped that tradition.
Yeah.
Like 20 plus years ago.
Yeah. See, you kind of explained what I was trying to explain. Tangled has a lot of those same breakaways from the traditional story.
But it doesn't hit it on the head like that hard.
It
doesn't be like,
it's
can't
not
get
super,
married,
it's not super blunt about it. It actually like builds the characters, and then they, through their own actions, establish that that's what they're doing. In Frozen, it feels like it's a lot more blunt, and it feels like they're trying to be like, hey, we're breaking it too.
Yeah.
We're just like how Tangled did it. This is why you should like our movie.
I feel like Miranda has pent up anger, and I feel like she wants to let this out.
I don't understand in what way Tangled tried to avoid that story arc with the prince saving the princess.
Because it was,
yes, she saves his life, but he also saves hers. He sweeps her off her feet, he takes her out of her tower, and they go off and they fall in love and they end up together in the end.
And he also saves her from Mother Gothel.
Yeah.
It's not the entire point though. He kind of stumbles on her by accident.
That's
tries
true.
To rob from her, and then
that's
she
also very
locks him away.
Okay, he stumbles upon her on accident, and then they fall in love immediately. And then they keep going through the rest of the story as these two people who obviously have chemistry, and it's about their relationship most of the time.
Did they actually really?
Frozen that
I don't think they
on?
actually fell in love until the boat scene. That was really until
exactly,
it was right before then when the little girls braided Rapunzel's hair.
Yeah.
That's when you really started to see the chemistry. It was really kind of like like you're doing this for me,
montage
I'm doing this for you. And then that was really the big thing.
Okay, but think about their first meeting where he comes into her tower and he's talking about the smolder and she's being all cute and like tying him up and he's like, okay, Blondie. And there's obvious chemistry happening and they're obviously trying to set it up because this is, a cute guy and a cute girl and they're supposed to be together. That's what it is.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay, and then Frozen does that with one scene and then they don't do it anymore. And then they're like, oh, that's not what this is about. And then it's not about that.
But then, there's the thing though, that they build that scene where it's like, oh, you meet and then you fall in love with Anna and the...
Yeah, and then they're like, that's
and
stupid.
But then they're starting to build that, and you're like, okay, that's where this is going to go. If they wanted to do a situation where both women are independently making their own choices of what they want to do with their lives, and they run it in parallel, that would have been interesting. But instead, they kind of like flip it on its head where the person she's marrying becomes the antagonist towards the end of the film rather than some third party or like some kind of crossover between their two stories. Conflict.
I like the idea
it feels
of
like it's fabricated rather than it comes naturally to the story.
I like the idea of having a red herring in the film. I think it just came in way too late to be like something that felt like
legitimate.
Yeah.
I felt like it carried any weight to it.
Like it wasn't the fact that he was the bad guy that bothered me. It was the fact that we don't find out he's the bad guy until like we're 3/4.
Okay, but Frozen isn't about the bad guy.
I know it's not. I'm just saying. I'm just saying that there are problems with the film.
Sure.
I'm not with Michael here and saying it's a bad film. I'm just trying to legitimize what he's saying.
Right. Yeah. And I'm trying to delegitimize it.
That's the whole point of the discussion.
Yeah.
I mean, altogether, I'm not gonna hate you if you like the movie because it's not the worst movie ever. It's just like I picked up on all these things and I'm like, this just feels like not like a wasted effort, but like an unfulfilled effort. Where they were trying to do the same thing Tangled to a greater extent.
That's not what they were going for.
And it seems like it though. It may not be, but it seems like it because that's just the way I'm analyzing it. Because Tangled came out first, I was like, oh, it's like the same kind of mindset where they're independent. It's kind of cool. And
but I feel like the only way we're going to get this discussion about these two movies out of like a conclusion is if we both watch these movies like back to back and then.
Okay, Rapunzel is not independent.
Fair enough. Because I'll agree. I haven't seen either movie recently. I'm
pretty sure fairly certain I brought Frozen. You said we have Tangled. You said you have Tangled. We can watch both of those and then we can rediscuss this after that.
Yeah, of course, yeah. Because that's probably the best idea.
Okay.
Ultimately, though, I do want to point out one more thing. There are a couple of animation issues. where a lot of the particle effects get tessellated,
Yeah,
or
there's
Elsa's
animation
hair clips through her
issues.
arm, and stuff like that bothers me because it's animation. You can go back and change that relatively easily.
The one thing though that I'm sorry, I've been
And
very distracted.
it's not like it's a small scene where it happens. It's in Idina Menzel's song.
Right.
Let It Go. During that scene, when she lets her hair down or lets it go or whatever, and it like literally just passes your
When it lets it go.
How did you miss
And
that?
I'm sure you noticed that while you were sitting in the theater watching the movie. I'm sure it wasn't because a YouTube video pointed it out.
No, it was actually. Like,
That's what I'm saying.
No, well, did you actually see it through a YouTube video or did you see it in the theater?
I saw it on DVD. We watched it on TV. And my parents rented. I think my parents rented it, and we saw it in the house. And I was like, wait a minute, what's that?
Okay. No,
really?
I can.
Because like
I never noticed it, but now I'm gonna have to go back and see that. But anyway, I want to make a point before we move on to the next movie. Something that I really like about Frozen is when she's in her castle, her ice changes colors depending on her mood. I found that fantastic. That they kind of, it was a slight detail, but when she was scared, it was yellow. But when she was getting angrier and angrier, it would just change colors depending on her mood. And I found that so amazing.
Yeah,
that they put in that
cool.
they put in that small detail.
Yeah.
It's not very noticeable, but it's there.
Yeah.
I want to make my point. I have been talking for a little bit. Let's move on with this one because we're gonna
I
someone's gonna
I
die.
started this massive argument. I do think that Frozen. Sorry, that was actually not intentional. I feel like Frozen does have a lot of redeeming qualities. The world's very interesting. I like the setting, and Anna and Elsa are two very interesting characters. I like how they have a duality where one's got the special power, one doesn't, and how that early on in the movie kind of creates a conflict, and there's the memory situation, and it's a really it's like any other Disney movie that we don't think is really personal. I think it's great. We can acknowledge that there are some great things about it.
Yeah.
Most of the animation is done really well,
Yeah.
and the writing is not bad. Just I don't think it comes together in a cohesive form.
No, I feel it.
Yeah, and it just didn't like it.
Well, I have one that I'm assuming, I hope, I swear to God, if somebody actually is no, I love this movie, I'm going to be very concerned. I'm pretty sure this is a movie that everyone will agree is terrible. Home on the Range.
Okay, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, that's a movie that I feel like everybody would say, no, that's terrible.
I'm gonna, just for the sake of it, I'm gonna slightly play devil's advocate, and I'm going to say that I like the movie.
Okay.
I mean, it's not one of my favorites. It's not one of my worst favorites. I enjoyed it. I'm gonna say that, so you have somebody to argue with.
I don't want to argue. I just want to bring my claim.
That's true.
The vote with Taylor and Frozen is that made an argument.
I mean, personally, I found
because Miranda had a strong feeling about Frozen, and you had a strong feeling about Tangled. So when you were criticizing Frozen and saying that Tangled did it better, it made no sense that she would refute those claims.
Because they're not the same.
Okay,
exactly.
Yeah.
But but we shouldn't have a fake argument.
Right? No. I'm actually going to say though, I did somewhat enjoy that movie. I liked how they took the I liked how they had that concept. That's
the way they adapted it.
yeah. It's not I'm not gonna say I love the movie. It was the best thing ever. I'm just not gonna say it's not the worst thing I've ever seen.
Yeah.
There are some movies that I have seen that I hate, but they're not Disney ones.
I think it's just because of the fact that it's such. It was a film that was very juvenile, and it was a film that was just made to meet a quota. We need to make this movie because we want to have another kids movie because the last few ones were more aimed towards a higher audience. But they shot so much for the kids they forgot hey, there are other people who watch these movies I don't know, parents.
Yeah.
And you never want to make a movie that just feels like your parents are going to have to get dragged to this.
Mm-hmm.
I mean that's about it. I mean, nothing really else was it's just as an overall whole. There's not a scene where I get really upset. Maybe the villain song from Randy Quaid. By the way, Randy Quaid's in that movie. There's not any specific scene. It's just a feeling of general nobody who made this movie felt impassioned to tell the story. They just made it because they had to. At least that's how it feels. I don't know, production history.
Yeah.
I understand where you're coming up with that.
Yeah.
I do get that. Alright, so...
Did you have another question that you wanted to bring up?
Yeah.
Oh, you said you had a question you wanted to bring up.
I wanted to bring it up, but I mean, unless of course we have any other movies that we want to bring up as us not liking them.
Oh, I had another one.
I mean, we can play like a lightning round where we're just kind of like throwing names out and like very
maybe like not going
like,
full length
just
discussion.
explain it. We're not gonna like build off of it.
Okay.
I never saw it, but I heard that the Lone Ranger was bad.
The one with Johnny
live
Depp.
action
Yeah.
one.
I never saw it either.
It's like 3 hours long,
With
basically.
Johnny Depp.
I never saw it.
Hammer,
Yeah, that was-
Armie Hammer and Johnny
I
Depp.
saw it.
Yeah.
It was no.
Okay.
Oh! I just remembered another one that I didn't like. Alice in Wonderland.
Really?
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
I don't like the original
Okay.
Alice in
Why
Wonderland.
not?
I remember watching it in first grade, and I was scared, like in the classroom, and it was really scary.
Okay, I can see where it's coming from.
It was the scene where she's like in the middle of the forest and she's crying because she wants to go home and she
Yeah,
can't.
doing a very good advice.
Yeah. Oh my god, that's so scary.
That is a very big.
The
Terrifying.
whole
Yeah.
movie's kind of full of really freaky imagery.
It's just so
I would have to
And
have
it,
to
like,
agree
it
with you on the
draws
fear
on
factor.
and there's no plot to it, and it's basically like, I think it'd be cool to read the book at this age because I'd be able to actually like.
I don't know. I
would
like to think of it more
not.
as like a road trip movie. Like it's basically just a children's fear and loathing. You know, there's sort of like you have this character, and even though she's sort of a blank slate-ish type thing, you still have a feeling of who she is as a person. And then you meet all these other like very eccentric characters.
Uh-huh.
And, every single character you meet just really leaves an impression with you. So when they all come back, you're like, oh, it's that one. It's that.
Yeah.
It just really leaves an impression with you. That's why I always like that movie a lot.
Right. Okay.
It never left a good impression on me. I always just thought it was convoluted and scary, and it didn't have a point, and it was really long, and I had to sit through
That's-
it, and
yeah.
I was like,
It
oh
wasn't
my
that long.
God.
It was like maybe under 90 minutes.
All right.
It's long when you're little.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I
I feel like it's a very really interesting movie, but the whole way that they write it out probably makes it drag on a little bit.
to build off of that, kind of a movie I didn't like was the Alice in Looking Glass, the new one.
With Johnny Depp.
Not the original. The original I liked the original one, like the live action, the first one.
Yeah.
The second one I didn't enjoy.
I didn't see the second one.
It wasn't great. It just had a very. I haven't read the book, so I don't know if it was actually like a plot
It's
in the
not.
book.
It's not.
But
Neither of those movies are anything like the books because they actually have a story and they actually try to make it seem like there's like a 3-act
But I
structure.
liked
There's
the
no
first
point.
one.
There's no point
Right.
in making a 3-act structure to a book that has no 3 acts.
But I mean, at one point they
Oh,
for the first live action one, I know in the actual original book they mentioned the Jabberwocky poem. So bringing the Jabberwocky into it, I
The
find
Jabberwocky was only introduced until Through the Looking Glass, though, in the book. So,
but I still find that very nice that they brought that in, and it was very. I found that one very nice. The second one I found very.
it's pointless, basically.
Yeah. I mean, it was. I liked the costumes for it. I liked that. I liked the makeup for it. That's the reason I would go see films for costumes, makeup, and then soundtracks. Those are the 3 main reasons I generally go see movies. But I liked all 3 of those. I just didn't like the plot for that one. All right. I'm good with that one. Anyone else?
If we're doing a lightning round, I guess I wasn't a huge fan of Lilo and Stitch. I saw that a couple of times on TV, and I always checked the whole thing. It's still more of a personal gripe. There's nothing really bad about the movie. I can't pick out anything that I would inherit.
One of those like gut feeling
It's
type
like,
things.
yeah, it's a gut feeling. It's just like, this is a cool movie. There's a lot of really great stuff about it. Not my kind of movie, I guess. Ultimately, it's interesting. It is a really cool concept of like these aliens.
So this is gonna be the first and the last podcast because Mike's gonna be dead after this.
Oh,
but
I'm not gonna dock it for being because it's not a bad movie.
all right, yeah, I get that.
Like, it's
But if you would insulted like Beauty and the Beast or Hercules,
God,
you would
I
be
would
dead
not-
in seconds.
Oh, damn it!
You just said Beauty and the Beast.
Oh no, I love Beauty and the Beast.
Were you gonna say Hercules?
No.
Leave.
No,
I cannot.
Wait.
Okay, I do want to hear why. I do want to hear why.
I think the problem is that I felt like it was sort of like a bunch of random elements kind of thrown together.
Okay.
Like our music's going to be gospel, okay? Our theme, our art design is going to be very like Vegas, okay? We're gonna have the guy who did the wall, animations be the character designer, okay? And we're gonna have the main theme song be sung by Michael Bolton. Okay. I don't know what all 4 of these things really have in common. I don't know what gospel music, Las Vegas architecture, Gerald Scarface artwork, and how Michael Bolton sings a song all kind of have to do with one another. It felt like they had like a good idea, like do it in this very sort of like stylistic way, and it's a nice style. I like the designs on the characters because Gerald Scarfa's a really good artist. And you know, James Wood is really good as Hades.
Mm-hmm.
I really like Megara as a character. That's probably another gripe. I wish that movie was more about Megara than it was.
I agree. I do agree with you on that. I do agree with you on that because she was she is okay, like character, like mentally wise, like she's one of the most realistic.
Definitely.
To that date. I mean, okay, but then like, but body wise, no. But like, character wise, like they're. Another reason is why I can't agree with you with Lilo and Stitch is because Lilo and Stitch has one of the most relatable characters in the entire Disney franchise.
Oh, yeah, Lilo.
No,
Lilo.
Nani. Nani is.
Mostly in Leo. I like Lilo and
but
Nani.
Nani is the most logical Disney character I feel like exists. Is Nani? She's one of the most logical. She acts exactly how a
young adult would act
who's trying to raise her younger sister. She has a decent. They actually did a good job designing her character. Like body wise, she looks like a real person.
Yeah.
Like she's set up like a real person. She acts like a real person. That's why I love that movie because the characters in that movie are so realistic.
Yeah.
They didn't go for like skinny waists and big eyes. I mean, they did a little bit of big eyes, but like.
A little more beautiful.
It's true, but like that's what I loved about Lilo and Stitch is because they had such relatable characters.
I like Lilo and Stitch a lot. I think I just felt like Hercules just was like a lot of problems with like the mid to late 90s Disney movies are that they're not like very like set together. They have ideas for stuff, but like there's always going to be something that they have to throw in there that kind of throws off the balance that they're trying to go for. And Hercules just is the one that doesn't make the most sense to me because it's this big hot mess of a movie that I never fully felt like I was getting like invested in, except for when it came to like Megara.
Okay.
Her relationship with Hades.
So what you're saying is Danny DeVito couldn't pull it together for you?
No! I love Danny DeVito, but I do not like him in that movie.
Okay.
I want to be a hero, kid.
Well,
whoop-de-doo.
Oh. Okay. Alright, I'm gonna bring up a new topic.
Yeah?
This is gonna be a very hard one, but favorite Disney song.
Oh, there's so many.
I know, but I feel like that alone is a very...
World.
Okay, well, you're like, oh, this is gonna be so hard. Part of your world.
Mine too, one jump ahead from the left.
Okay.
It's just because I have such a strong emotional connection to Part of Your World. I sang it for my first grade talent show, and it made me want to sing.
Okay.
And Joe Benson is just so fantastic, and I love it so much.
Alright.
Because it's my whole childhood.
That's a lot more simple than that. I just like one jump ahead. Like the beat he carries, the way that in the film it kind of introduces him as a character, like what his life is like. One jump ahead and I just think it's
I like how they took elements for that song. I like how they took elements from Arabian Nights and they kind of slipped that into it.
A little bit as
yeah.
Because like that whole soundtrack is kind of like connected as one long piece.
Like an opera sort of. Like operas have like leitmotifs that come up and the score from previous segments of it.
If you can't tell, we're all music nerds.
Yeah.
Just gotta keep one jump ahead of the breath line, one swing ahead of the sword. I steal only when I can't afford.
And that's
everything.
Yeah.
Sorry. Stop.
That's fine. I think I might have said this the other night. I really recently became just head over heels for Bella Notte from
Okay.
The Trap.
Yeah, you had briefly mentioned that a couple nights ago.
I think the reason why I love that so much is because, especially like the first half is all right. You know, it's sort of kind of cornballish a little bit. But when it switches over to the chorus, it's very impressionistic and like you really get a feeling of how like the harmonies come out.
Wasn't that one of the last Disney films that used the choruses? It was one of the last ones.
Sleeping Beauty might have been like the last one where they used that like Disney chorus that you hear. In, like,
which is like it was so
50s.
Nice. I loved that. It
was
really.
I love that. I kind of came to the realization after I got really into. I'm assuming since we're all people who get really deaf about like Disney films that we're all familiar with Pogo and his sort of like remixes of old Disney music.
I believe so.
Like, sort of like house or like electronic music type stuff. And he would do a lot of like the stuff from like the 40s and 50s, which is that sort of like choir sound that was in the arrangements for all the songs and Stones. And so there's like a very like really sort of nostalgic, ethereal sound that you get when you hear those choirs, because like the way they write everything kind of has like a melancholy sense, even if it's an up-tempo tune. And it's sort of the same thing with like Oscar Hammerstein once said, like, the songs that make me cry aren't the sad ones, are the ones that are the most pure and innocent.
Yes.
And that's kind of the whole gist of most of Disney songs, where it's this sort of like purity and innocence that has that sort of melancholy to it, because that's just how music from the 40s and like pre-rock and roll was written, with that sort of sense of melancholy. And it's just something that I like a lot, you know.
All right, favorites, Justin?
Okay, so originally,
Jack's Lament.
No, actually, none of them are from that movie.
Really?
Okay, so originally, my absolute favorite Disney song, 100% my favorite one, was was "Trust in Me" from the newest Jungle Book with Scarlett Johansson.
Yeah.
Personally, I found that better than the original one because like her voice was a lot more enchanting and more like mysterious and mystic.
That's Winnie the Pooh, though. That's Winnie the Pooh singing that song, though.
It's more enchanting
I get it more enchanting.
Mechanically enhanced.
But I liked it more. I liked Ka more as a female over a male. But that was until the live action Beauty and the Beast came out, and I heard Evermore.
Yeah.
That's the Beast song.
Yes, that is now my new favorite Disney song, and it's going to take a lot until they come out with a new one to top that, because I don't really enjoy when they make a live action film and then when they change something and then they add new songs. They don't do it very often.
Yeah,
but
it really doesn't work. But here,
yeah, but this one, it added so much more character to the Beast.
Yeah.
It made him. You realize he's actually in love with her.
Yeah.
He's actually had just fallen in love, but he's letting her go to make sure that she is okay.
Yeah.
And to the fact that he basically risked his life to let her go back to her father. To me, that is one of the most beautiful things that can come from a song, that it's showing that he hurts letting her go, but he knows he has to in order to keep her happy.
Yeah.
And I just loved that about that song. And it's also my vocal range, so it's the only reason.
There you go.
But it's fantastic. I love it.
The question, I feel like now, since we kind of changed topics, I can bring up the question that I wanted to ask.
Okay.
Yeah.
And I wanted to bring up, what do you think is like the most underrated Disney movie that you feel like should get more love, or what do you think is the most overrated Disney movie that you feel like is let's do the underrated one first.
Underrated?
I feel like I like talking positive more than I do negative.
Okay.
Yeah.
I feel like we might have the same one.
I love both Peter Pan 2 and Little Mermaid 2.
Okay, never mind. We don't have the same ones.
Okay. I just love them so much, and I can't even explain
Was
why.
Little Mermaid
also
2...
Lion King 2.
Yeah, there it is, yeah.
Yeah.
Is
Lion
Little Mermaid
King
2 the one with her daughter?
Melody. Yeah,
Yes.
her daughter.
I personally found that one a little strange. But
Get a hang of this river. It's like
it's not that I didn't like it, it's just the fact that
Which way is left? Oh, this way is right. Now we'll be circling in circles all night. Oh, so this is forward, no problem. It's so cute.
Yeah,
The whole
I do
movie
agree with
is
you on
so
that.
cute.
It's just, I personally didn't like how Ursula suddenly had a sister that she
Yeah,
never
that was
mentioned in the first film.
It's ridiculous.
And
It
then
doesn't
it's
make
like,
any sense.
you're like, Muller always liked Ursula better because she could
She's
actually
not
do
a
music.
good
And it's
villain,
like,
but I love the
what
movie.
are you doing? But,
If
okay.
anyone wants to argue that it's not a good movie, I won't try and tell you you're wrong. Because, like,
But it's definitely a
from
very...
an objective standpoint, it's not that great of a film.
Right.
But I love it so
The music is very nice. But, I'm going to move on from the one that you also said, is Lion King 2. In all honesty, a lot of people will fight me for this, but I liked Lion King 2 more than Lion King 1.
Really?
I almost highly loved that one better because the characters were stronger, the stuff was going on behind me. Everything personally for me, I found I think the relationship between Kiara and Kobu was so much stronger than the relationship between Simba and Nala.
It's because Lion King 2 is based on Romeo and Juliet.
Right, I get that. But also, I think that the fact that the main lioness villain, is coming in there like, I want revenge because you killed Scar. You've killed my husband.
Right.
That is good. That's amazing.
Good connection.
That's amazing connection, and it's amazing reason for her to be a villain. Because you killed someone I love, I want to get revenge back on you and hurt someone you love.
She's pulling a John Wick, basically.
Basically, but
Free John Wick.
But the fact that everything fit together so nicely, and then that the fact that they take Kobu and they shun him.
Deception.
Yes, that that part made me cry because because of who he was. He was shunned because of what he had done and who he was. But even though he's nothing like his father in this case.
Yeah.
I'm good with that one. I had a second one. Alright, I had a second one, but I can't think of it.
Mine is Night Before Hanukkah, the little known sequel to Night Before Christmas.
That's a bit from the critic.
Cool.
Is this Christmas Town? No, it's the Vatican, and I'm Pope Shlomo. Boy.
No, wait, this isn't actually a thing, is it?
No, it's not.
Oh, thank God, I'm like, what?
No, it is a bit from the critic.
Wait, though, I do have to bring up a point that Nightmare Before Christmas is having a sequel. It comes out in 2018 or 2019, I
Are they
believe.
making a sequel?
There are.
I thought it was part of the trilogy of Frankie Winnie.
No, it's a new Nightmare Before Christmas movie.
Was it Ghost Bride?
Corpse Bride?
Corpse Bride and Nightmare Before Christmas, where
That's how it's
Tim
like.
Burton was like, oh, they're in reverse. and
No,
released.
but they're making a second.
Oh, really?
And I
wonder what they're gonna do with it.
I'm scared.
I'm scared.
I'm scared to see how they do it, but at the same time, I'm very thrilled because I've been hoping that they could do that and hope maybe try and build off the mistakes or like have something happen that they're able to come back and help.
Yeah.
But overall, I'm really hoping for that good one. And Incredibles 2 is coming out in 2019. I'm very thrilled about that because we've been waiting years for Incredibles 2. And now that it's finally coming out, I am thrilled, and I know I will be seeing that in theaters.
Thrilled
Probably.
and also terrified because what if it's not good?
I feel like
Right?
I feel like they're not going to be. They make it not good. People are going to completely diss Disney.
I think Incredibles 2 is in one situation where Disney could be absolutely and totally screwed.
Right, if it's bad. So they're probably working very hard
So
to make it good.
Yeah.
I understand.
Yeah.
What was one that you actually were going to say?
That is underrated.
Yeah.
It's hard to say. I want to say my immediate response is Treasure Planet,
Okay.
but
I can see because it's not a huge one. Not a lot of
there's a
people
lot
know
that
about
goes on. There's a whole video that explains it.
Right.
Called, I'll look at the description because I'm mentioning the actual video itself. But it's called Treasure Planet: Disney's Biggest Mistake, and it's not like super critical of the movie. Like it actually acknowledges a lot of like the great stuff that it does, and some of the bad stuff that it does.
Okay.
But it talks about more in depth like about its release and stuff, and the corporate situation behind it, and how much it costs to make in comparison to how much it actually made, and
Right.
the reasons for it. It's really great. I'll put a link in the description of the video. But that's my immediate response. But I guess if I think about it, I want to say Journey to Atlantis actually is a little bit more underrated than
Atlantis: The Lost Empire.
Yeah, Lost Empire. Yeah.
Okay, I would definitely agree with you on that. It's but it's at the same time
really
it's
cool stuff with the same sort of CGI feel to it, and it's not based on the source material. Is it,
Right.
actually?
I don't believe
So
It is,
it's very Jules Verne inspired.
Yeah,
It's very-
but it's
strong.
Something is like
it's a strong
adaptation.
movie. It has very
Yeah, it has a lot of really interesting
Yes.
The art style's really great. The plot might not be the best.
plot's
in
not the
world,
best, but I mean, what can you
The
do?
characters are really interesting.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I think that's
The
strong
diversity of the
strong suit
characters.
the film is just
The
like
characters.
characterization.
Yeah. And how different they are, but how well
Yes.
they still work together.
Especially in their
Yeah.
designs, how they use that sort of like we'll have some characters that are very like twiggy, and then we're gonna have some characters that are a bit more plump. So you have a feeling of like everything's based on line, circle,
Uh-huh.
circle.
I understand that as well.
That's
Yeah.
really cool, yeah. I think that's like we haven't actually mentioned that. We mentioned the movie once, I think.
We've mentioned it briefly.
Yeah,
I mentioned it briefly when I was
yeah.
talking about Treasure Planet.
Exactly, yeah, and I feel like that movie is. I haven't seen that one in an even longer period.
It is
of time.
also on
It's on
Netflix.
Netflix though. And Treasure Planet's
Yes.
not, which surprised me.
Mm-hmm.
But,
Atlantis and Atlantis 2 are both on Netflix.
What's Atlantis 2?
I don't know. I've never seen
Atlantis
it.
2 was basically they wanted to make a show on Atlantis, so they put the first 3 episodes.
Doesn't he
And they
go?
realized that they weren't going to make a show on Atlantis, and they were like, well, fuck it, we're going to put these 3 episodes all together, and it makes no sense why it just jumps around a lot.
Wasn't it? I feel like I read the description. It was where he goes back.
He goes back.
He goes back to
Is
Atlantis.
there like trouble in Atlantis?
I feel.
No, he doesn't go back to Atlantis.
He doesn't?
The people come, because he stays at the end of the movie.
You're right. He does stay.
Because
They go
have
back
a
to-
relationship. He has a
Or
relationship
does
with
he?
her.
I think he might come back to. He might come back to the mainland.
He comes back to the mainland
because he needs their help again because some shit or
Yeah,
something.
that's
I'll
it.
have to watch it. I might watch it, might not. But
Yeah.
anyway, so
But yeah, that's just what I realized. I just feel like there's
Right.
a lot going for it that
Right.
just wasn't really recognized.
yes,
Yeah, there's 2 I'm thinking of. One that I reference in my top 5 list, and one I guess I reference in the song one, but like that I haven't really talked about is let's talk about the one that's in the top 5 list.
okay.
So I brought up the Great Mouse Detective earlier.
Yes,
Yeah.
you did bring that up.
And I talked about it earlier, but I just want to reiterate just the fact that like Disney doesn't seem to make a lot of movies that I would consider good adventure movies.
Mm-hmm.
Not to say that they're bad.
Right.
I'm just saying that that's not a strong suit of theirs. There's only been like a handful of times in which I felt like, yeah, they made a really good
The
adventure
first
movie.
Pirates of the Caribbean.
I'm talking about like maybe the field of animation, but yeah.
Okay.
First Pirates
That
of the
was-
Caribbean
That's a really
work.
good movie.
Mhm.
Yeah. I also was thinking about Rescuers Down Under, which is another really good,
Ooh.
underrated
Oh,
film.
yeah.
I hate the original, but I love
The original is shitty.
But I just feel like Great Mouse Detective works really well as an adventure movie because of the fact that like it kind of toes the line really well. Of, like there's a tension, there's a drama, but there's also sort of lightness to it.
Yes.
I never felt like it got too light. I never felt like it got too dark.
Mhm.
I felt like it was at that right thing. And
Right.
when there were dark moments, I felt they were like legit. They were there for a legitimate purpose.
Yeah.
They weren't there just because they were like, well, we need to throw in something dark.
Okay.
I felt like everything that was done in that movie made sense on a logistical standpoint.
Uh huh.
Because of the world they try to. It's basically just end of the Victorian period Britain, but in the prospect of like mice.
Right. I'll have to watch that. I've never
And
seen it though. I definitely need to watch it.
Vincent Price's top 5 best Disney villains ever as Ratigan. I
Okay.
love Ratigan.
Oh, we didn't go back into Disney World. We did.
Ooh.
We could do that as well.
Yeah.
After we did that,
That's gonna be hard though, cause I don't know. Okay.
There are
No.
They're a lot, but
No,
that's really
there's
good.
one.
And the scores.
currently running 151.
Really?
We're good.
Oh, we've got time.
We can edit this down. We can
Because they're the
I mean, we can cut out the giant interruptions,
So that's like 10, 15
and then we can probably cut out like one of the anecdotes,
Yeah, we can.
and then we can cut out
some
this.
stuff.
Yeah.
But no, it's just I like the character designs. They're really nice.
Uh-huh.
It's just a really good movie. It's a really fun movie, especially for a period of time in which Disney weren't making fun, good
Yeah.
movies.
No, I understand.
You know, the '80s was like a lot of like Disney trying to be very like dark
Uh huh.
and very grounded in like a
Yes.
really big sense of reality. Like Fox and the Hound comes to mind, Black Cauldron comes to mind. And then that was like the first one there. They're trying to get a bit more lighthearted, and that was just kind of like the lead up to the Renaissance, which started with like Little Mermaid and whatnot. And I sometimes feel there are actually like that movie's probably better than a good chunk of like the Renaissance movies. Like the only ones I don't think it's better than is probably Mermaid, Beauty and the Beast, and Aladdin. That's
Okay.
it. I have a really big, strong bond with that movie. That might just because I watched it a lot as a kid.
Maybe.
But I still feel like it's still a good. I mean, there were movies I watched a lot when I was a kid that I don't like now, and I still feel like that movie helps.
Yeah. No, I understand.
The other one that I recently started propping up as like a really great film that nobody ever seems to recognize as a good film is Lady and the Tramp.
Okay.
Lady and the Tramp is a very great movie because talk. Even though I like the idea that Disney likes to stay light with its material, and when they get dark, sometimes it kind of comes out of nowhere. It doesn't have a point other than that it's Disney, and we have to have a moment that's very like dark in nature and whatnot. I feel like Lady and the Tramp is probably one of the few films that has this really nice sense of grounded reality. Because like the story is almost like very adult if you really break it down.
It really is.
It's basically woman has an issue with her family life, gets tangled up with this person from out of town, has like a really great relationship, but not like anything like substantial, just some like wild stuff. Has it's kind of implied that he gets her pregnant in a sense, and then basically finds out that he's been sleeping with other people before her, or it's basically like that's why he's called the Tramp in a sense. And then they basically shows that like this is something that he really wants to dedicate himself to. It's this really mature movie that's portrayed with like dogs and cats and stuff like that. And it's really beautifully animated.
Yes.
It's kind of like, cause after the first 5 movies, Disney were just making really cartoonish type stuff. But then like when Alice in Wonderland came out, that's when they really just hit their stride with like, we might have some cartoony stuff, but we're really trying to get back to drawing our characters as if they're actual people and having a sort of like nice sense of like reality and like realism. That movie is basically just realism painting, kind of animated. Like it's very like there's stuff that's like very Edward Hopper, another like American realist from the turn of the century. Yeah. And it's just I just love that movie a lot because I just never realized how to do it. Because people usually don't talk about that movie. They talk about the scene where they had the meatballs. Right. That's it. They never talk about anything else in that movie, and it feels like it's one of those movies that has like a scene that kind of outshines the actual film. Kind of like Few Good Men. Yeah. Where Few Good Men's actually a really good movie, but people only think about the you can't handle the truth scene. Yeah. They don't think about how like well
it's built up.
Yeah, how good of a movie it actually is until we get to that part. Yeah. So yeah.
Right, you said you had a second one that was
underrated.
I'm gonna say Pooh's Grand Adventure and also Winnie the Pooh and Christmas 2.
Why do you think of like weird straight to DVD movies?
Because the straight to DVD ones are the ones I watched as a kid. Okay, they're so charming. I love Pooh Bear. He's my favorite. I love him so much. Pooh's Grand Adventure is the one where like Christopher Robin goes to school. Yeah. He leaves a note, but he can't spell it, so they think he like was eaten by a skull or something.
No,
he went to Skull.
From the skull, yeah.
That reminds me. Yes, Gone to Skull. I think the skull is out to get it. But that reminds me of the thing from the recent Winnie the Pooh movie where it's what are like the new Heffalumps and Woozle? They he leaves and he's trying to say I'll be back soon or back or something like that. But he says it says Backson. And I think like his mom's called the Backson.
Like, oh no, the Backson.
No.
And all of that content.
I have another one.
Is taken from the book because I listened to the book on tape one summer because I was feeling nostalgic, and like the stuff from the movies is taken right out of.
Oh yeah, no, totally, yeah. I've never read the books, but I
did. And like when it floods and everything. Yeah. I used to have this Winnie the Pooh book where it was like a hidden pictures kind of thing on every page. And I remember they had like the Bluster Day one, Eeyore's birthday party, where he thinks nobody likes him. And then they have the one where it floods, and it's just so charming and endearing. And I just love Winnie the Pooh to no end, and I think everybody else should too.
I don't think there's anybody who hates Winnie.
Okay. I just remembered another very...
A bad Winnie the Pooh film.
No, I mean, there's probably bad Winnie the Pooh films, but as like a character and as like a property, it's kind of hard to have like a disdain for him. Yeah. Like people can hate the short characters, like Mickey, Donald, Goofy, and whatnot.
Right.
I've never seen anybody have like concerns with like the Winnie the Pooh characters.
Right.
Yeah, I'm sure everybody loves those.
I have one.
Wait, we should get to the overrated ones, then we can get to the.
I have one more underrated one. The Aristocrats. I feel like it's very. I said Aristocrats, but Aristocats is very. Stop. But I feel like that is a very underrated movie because not a lot of people know it exists. I've talked to people about it. Not a lot of people have seen it, or like I've talked to people about it. I've been trying to like talk to people about it, and they're like, What? What is that?
The Aristocats?
Yeah, a lot of people
But
don't.
like everybody wants to be a cat one, like one of those like really legendary
It's one of
Disney
the really
songs.
legendary songs, but a lot of people don't know what it's from.
Oh really?
A lot of
Is
people.
it sort of like a Zippity Doodah thing? Where
Yeah,
it's like,
yeah, it's kind of like that. It's kind of like the Zippity Doodah. It's like people they know the
But
song,
they know
but
what Song of
they
the South is now because it's like extremely racist.
but they've never actually like seen it or heard of the movie. So that's another one that just kind of popped in my head. All right, overrated.
Everyone looked at me. And
I don't know.
Because we
Uh,
know what
mess.
you're thinking.
I wasn't.
It's Frozen, Michael. We
It's
know you think Frozen
Frozen!
is overrated.
It's
okay?
rotten.
It's rotten!
How much capellini are you putting in the bin?
Look!
Wait.
No, I wasn't gonna say Frozen actually.
Oh, really?
I think it was overhyped, but I don't think it was to an extent that like was terribly detrimental. It's just like,
I remember there was no hype for that movie, and then the movie finally dropped, and everybody freaked out about it.
Maybe it was just because that one song Let It Go that became so popular.
Probably.
I think that was like a movie that nobody was expecting to be big, and then just got huge out of nowhere. That's what I remember.
Ooh, you know what I think?
Yeah.
It's
Overrated.
Cinderella. Because like I don't
I agree. I agree.
Like,
I
the
agree.
main princess and the main thing for Disney, she's got Cinderella's castle in Disney World. Cinderella is just not that great of a story.
It's
She's just kind of there. She doesn't even really do much. She just kind of
she's a
cries.
good character. I just feel like I guess it's just very like I never like the scenes with like Lucifer and all the mice. The songs aren't really that good except for
Dream as you wish your heart may.
No, not that one. So This Is Love, which is
Oh,
Prince.
yeah.
They're dancing.
I liked the new Cinderella, the one they made recently, the
the
live action one. I liked that one.
Yeah.
I liked that one. That one was good. The original.
But no, I agree with
She
you.
still has no ambition though.
She doesn't have any.
No, she has. My main gripe that I feel like nobody ever really brings up is just the fact that like Cinderella as a character makes a lot of like she's not like all pleasantry. She gets upset. She wants to do stuff that she can't get and then gets flustered. I think people don't recognize that. I just feel like the story that she got stuck with doesn't really explore her as well as it should.
Okay.
Right.
Yeah. So it's a boring movie.
I've got an overrated one. I personally believe that Big Hero 6 was overrated.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was
Yeah.
it was like building up to it. It was huge, and then it hit, and it was huge, and I'm like,
It's a very
Okay.
mediocre movie.
Yeah.
okay, it was. I mean, it was good. It was a good movie, but I don't personally believe it deserved as much hype as it got.
Yeah, really interesting stuff.
It had a lot of really good stuff,
Like,
but
what
overall,
movie you're gonna be? Because Miranda kind of cut
Yeah.
you off.
Yeah.
I was. Is Into the Woods a Disney movie? It
It's
is.
all
new-
Disney,
the new one?
But if you're talking about the
The movie adaptation.
the new one.
I mean,
I believe
I didn't
so.
like it,
Yeah.
but it better not just be because of what it originally is intending to do. You just don't like the adaptation. Are you familiar with the original Sondheim musical?
No,
The original musical is very good.
See,
The
that's what I was
musical's really good.
mentioning. Yes, yes, I'm sure the music was good. I've never seen it or listened to it, but the movie was
I heard it wasn't great.
appalling, kind of.
It wasn't horrible.
Yeah,
it was just a very poor man's
very-
adaptation of
Yeah, I
Into
guess.
the Woods.
And I think that's why I call it appalling, because I was expecting so much more. Because it seems like it seems like it's a great idea, and in musical form, I imagine it works super well.
I think it was just a movie that was very poorly casted for the roles that they were given.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
Like Meryl Streep doesn't make a good witch. James
I thought
Corden
she
doesn't
made
make a
good
good baker.
Oh,
Whoever played the
Johnny Depp
baker,
doesn't make a good wolf.
no, whoever got to play the baker's wife is really good.
Emily
And
Blunt.
I never saw the movie.
Cinderella was pretty good.
I
I
thought Anna Kendrick was like alright. I thought Meryl Streep did a great job.
I wasn't a fan. I think it's because I have such a affinity for like any role that Bernadette Peters plays.
Okay.
Then I'm like, Bernadette Peters does everything perfect. I can't like, she's the best queen. Excuse me. I love her in Sunday in the Park with George.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, there was that, because it seemed like everyone's like, oh, it's all these great like classics thrown together in one piece, and the movie just kind of flopped for me.
But the musical is much
I have some
better.
things that they don't bring up in the movie, like how there's like the narrator and. I can't say what happens, but you know what I'm talking
Yeah, I know exactly what you're talking about. Wait, I feel like
You can't spoil it, but there's a big thing that happens with
that.
the narrator.
Ooh, that should be a podcast.
I think you're sparing me from that spoil.
Musicals would be a good podcast. That'd be a good.
I know musicals would be really
musicals.
bad because it'll just be me talking about Sondheim for a while, and then like a bunch of like standards from musicals that I play because I'm enjoying.
And then me talking about Hamilton.
Yeah, that's basically what it's gonna be.
Maybe we'll just have it without Michael.
I'm
It'll be
the
his
host,
podcast, but we just won't have him be in
I'm
it.
the host, though.
Yeah,
That's the problem.
He's the host with the
Obviously,
most
Miranda's the
Yeah.
host.
Obviously.
Honestly, you could
It's me, guys.
we could do a rotating host.
Welcome to the first podcast. My name is Miranda.
But this is just a warm-up?
It's your boy, Miranda.
It's your boy Miranda. Okay, so
no, what's my overrated? I would say Lion King.
okay.
Lion King, I've always when I got older, I kind of started to realize that I never really enjoyed Lion King. I think that's mainly just because of the fact that I just don't. It's the music that I just don't like. I don't like Elton John as a composer. I don't like Tim Rice as a lyricist.
Wait. What about like the rest of the music? Like not the actual musical numbers, but like.
What, the score? Well, yeah, but I guess that's fine. Hans Zimmer's a good, orchestrator.
Right.
It's beautiful.
Yeah, I'm
like.
just talking since Disney so runs on the profit of the music, like the songs. That's usually what I think about when I think of Lion King.
You didn't like the music?
I just.
Just can't wait to be king.
I never. No.
Circle of Life? Can you feel the love tonight?
No.
Ooh. Well, I've never seen a king of beasts with quite so little hair.
I'm gonna be the
Okay. I'll say this.
Okay. Alright.
I like Rowan Atkinson as Zazu. Rowan Atkinson as Zazu, excuse me. Because I just like Rowan Atkinson in general. And then, of course, James Earl Jones hits it out of the park.
I didn't know Rowan Atkinson was Zazu.
Really?
Yeah.
Whoa.
Oh my god, are you serious?
Yeah, I just like Rowan Atkinson. I like him on, like, not the 9 o'clock. Was it 9 o'clock or 8 o'clock? 9 o'clock or... he was in a show called... not the 9 o'clock news, which is a sketch comedy show that's, like, really weird.
What else was he in? Because that name sounds very...
He's in Mr. Bean. That's the thing that most people in America knows him for.
Oh!
But I like him for, like, stuff like not the 9 o'clock news.
Okay, that makes sense now.
Blackadder's really good.
I can see it now.
Y'all should watch Blackadder. It has, like, a young
I
Hugh
think
Laurie in
I've
it.
seen it.
And a young Stephen Fry.
Okay.
So I love the season where it's in Elizabethan times and Queen Elizabeth only does two things: have crushes on all the men and just execute everybody.
I mean, is that not
she's
the
a very
ideal?
complex person, but I just love that.
The
story it kind of simplifies a little bit like that.
But I mean, that's my Saturday night: is falling in love with men and then executing half the population.
Half of the population, not even just the men, but half the population.
Yeah.
Women too.
Walk
That
outside.
actually is Justin.
What?
That actually is you.
You're not wrong.
Falling in love with men and
then executing people.
Yeah.
Speaking of which, it's time for execution.
Damn it.
But no, I think I just have such a like affinity. Like I'm saying that again. Affinity for like Menken and Ashman. Like the music for Mermaid and Beauty and the Beast are just really, really good.
Oh yeah.
Ashman's just a very clever lyricist. Menken just really writes music really well. Like, I just, and that's why it's always like really weird when there's like a Menken Rice production because the music's great, the lyrics aren't.
Okay.
I'm not a fan of Tim Rice as a lyricist because he writes things that are very like. It's hard to explain it. Like,
I get what you're talking about.
Ashman, it's sort of like the difference between being clever because you're just a good writer and then being clever because you're trying to be clever.
Okay.
Ashman's very clever because he's a good lyricist.
Yes.
Okay.
Rice just wants to be clever.
Right.
He's not clever. He's trying too hard.
Okay.
Right.
His lyrics feel like he's trying too hard, and Elton John just has like this really like weird sort of like I want to put girth in my music, and like it just feels like it's a bit too like much for me.
I can understand. I can understand where you're coming from. I'm still going to. Okay.
Maybe just because that's what he sounds like when he sings. There's a great surrender.
Now, seeing as how there are two fans of this movie, I actually do want to mention the name of it here.
Yeah.
Yes.
Because every season people blow it back up, but otherwise no one really talks about it.
Right.
And I feel like it's more of like a seasonal situation. People are like, oh yeah, it's
Halloween
or Christmas.
I do genuinely like that movie, and I think it's a lot of really great stuff. But it just seems like it's a bit too popularized for what
I'd have to disagree with you on that.
Yeah.
I feel like it gets the perfect amount of hype because it's not like they're gonna like completely blow it out of the park like it just was released. People bring it back up as like a reminder, like, oh, I watched this when I was a child on Halloween, so I'm gonna watch it again because it's such a good movie. It's like a bringing back because like a trip down memory lane.
Yeah.
That's why I think it's a good movie. And for future reference, I am wearing a Diet Before Christmas hat. So
a badass Jack Skellington.
Absolutely.
And you're right, it is really cool to have that nostalgia effect, but when it's brought up so consistently, it kind of defeats the purpose of having a song.
And it's not really
At least
that-
for me.
I do
the problem
understand.
that I've always had with it is that it became sort of like the film for like the edgy Hot Topic teen. and so it basically
The edgy Hot Topic
teen. Points at Justin as he sits there.
As I wear Harley Quinn socks, acid red jeans, fingerless gloves, and a Hogwarts t-shirt.
Yeah.
I just personally.
All available at your local Hot Topic, not sponsored.
Except for the hat and the shirt.
No, you might have that hat.
I haven't seen it, but this hat was Party City.
It's
also not
sort of
sponsored.
shirt
Shirt was Meyer, also not
Hot
sponsored.
Topic has
But Meyer and
Party City and Hot Topic.
And Hot Topic, if you want to hit me up, I love free merch. We all love free merch.
Nintendo
Yes.
free stuff.
I worked at Meyer for a second.
We're college kids. We need this new clothing. Anyway,
yeah, it's sort of the
alright.
same thing with Nightmare Before Christmas, Invader's Zim, like these really cool things that kind of get over marketed as like this sort of like overwrought sort of emotional like products that people get into that kind of like waters down the original the original like just gut hit factor of how cool and interesting those products and things are.
Yeah. So like, now that you say that, I guess it's more or less the fact that the community is so like centric around how the specific times when this movie comes back into fluctuation.
Right.
Not so much the movie itself that is overrated.
Right.
But the
I think we can say that for maybe like almost all of Tim Burton's movies. It has such a niche audience that kind of turns people off from really wanting to watch those movies.
Yeah.
Which is a shame because probably the first 10 years of what Tim Burton made are all like really great.
I would agree with you on that.
And then some stuff thrown in afterwards. That
Right. There's certain really good things afterwards. But
yeah.
Was he involved in Coraline actually?
No, because I want to bring this up. People always say that Nightmare Before Christmas was directed by Tim Burton. It was written and produced by him. The person who directed it was Henry Selick, and I feel like that might, I'm not sure, in certain circles that might be like a dead horse thing, where it's like, oh yeah, I know Henry Selick directed those movies, I hear that every single time they're brought up. But I just want to make sure that, because some people might not know that, Henry Selick directed that movie, he directed James and the Giant Peach, he directed Coraline, he directed Nightmare Before Christmas, like I mentioned.
Okay.
And also Coraline is also not a Disney movie.
It's also not a Disney movie.
I know it's not.
The only two stop motion movies that Tim Burton has actually directed are Corpse Bride and Frankenweenie.
And you can definitely tell that. It's
Because
definitely a darker.
Henry Selick is a bit more smoother with how he moves his characters, I guess.
I mean,
actually, it's actually the other way around.
Yeah, Tim Burton has a very smooth way.
Smoother. Henry Selick is a bit more choppier.
But
yeah, if you watch
choppy, but in a stylized manner where everything feels kind of overpronounced.
Yeah.
Also,
very subtle
with Tim Burton, you can definitely tell when he directs a film because it's a lot darker. It's a lot more like it's a lot higher knowledge, like thinking wise. Like Corpse Bride, for example, was very dark. It was very like gloomy. Yeah. There weren't a lot of bright colors.
It was basically he wanted to bring an Edward Gorey illustration book to life and wanted to animate it.
Okay, so going kind of off this dark theme, we're going to switch to our next topic. Yeah, we're going to go to Disney villains. All right. For immediately, the first one that comes to mind is from my top 5. It's from Nightmare Before Christmas, Oogie Boogie.
Yeah.
I'm going to have to say he's one of my favorites. I'm not going to say it's because he sings jazz. But that is one of the main reasons.
You would get so much respect in that room if you said that, though.
But overall,
this is funny. I can't think of him as because me and my friend found I don't even think it's on YouTube anymore. But me and my friend found this one YouTube group called The Nightmare After Thanksgiving. It's this really dumb video that we thought was funny as middle schoolers. I'm pretty sure we wouldn't find it funny now, but we just loved talking about it because it would be something that he would use to annoy me with back in middle school, in the sense that there's just certain scenes where it gets really loud. We'll just quote that video so much. It'll be like, someone shut this fellow up. Someone shut this fellow up. Someone shut this fellow up. Someone sound and dance and music in the air, and I'm a gang. It's just so dumb.
It's like the typical YouTube standard where you make everything louder, you stutter it randomly, and
release me, no. Just really loud.
But going back to I loved the character design. I loved the fact that this whole podcast is basically spoilers for people who haven't seen this movie, but how he's not actually one person. He's not even a person.
Oh,
He's
just a bunch of maggots. Yeah,
he's
bugs,
multiple
yeah.
bugs, but there's one small one that controls.
Yeah.
Oh, that's
the
right.
whole
It's
thing.
like a
It's
cockroach.
basically, in all honesty,
Yeah.
you could think of Oogie Boogie as a community. There's one person in charge.
The ecosystem of
Yeah, the ecosystem of Oogie Boogie. There's one person. There's
Yeah.
there's one specific bug that's in charge because he's the one that's talking,
Yeah.
and then everything else makes up and can control him. Has basically separate jobs to control the whole sack that is Oogie Boogie.
Yeah.
So overall, I just find that fascinating that it's an entire
Interesting.
community.
I forgot about that.
Yeah.
But that's one, and then I mean, of course, you got to go to Ursula.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Because
yeah, definitely.
she's badass.
Yeah. She's like maniacal and knows what she's
And she's basically, she's like, she can sympathize with you. She's like, she understands not feeling fit in. She understands all this. She wants to help you, but there's a price.
Yeah.
There's always
a price.
Yeah.
There's always a price when it comes to getting what you want. She clearly states that. She's making it very clear, like, there will be a cost for you to be able to go up here. I need something from you. But Ariel's so stupid and so in freaking love that she doesn't care.
Yeah.
So she just signs it away, and Ursula's like, well, since now I have this, I'm going to use this to manipulate the man you love in order to get him instead. And I find that very maniacal. I find that very evil, and I love it.
Yeah.
If you can't tell, I'm a huge Disney villain fan. All right,
Disney
I
okay.
villains-
just I like the scene where she goes, I'll make him ride and wriggle like a worm on a hook, and all her tentacles come up in her face. It's scary.
I like the, I always, I don't know why, I always remember the scene. I forget what the reference is, but she's just like, you gotta learn to use your body language.
Yeah.
And don't underestimate
Estimate
the importance of
body language. Ha!
Oh,
But she's an amazing villain. Both of them, both Oogie Boogie, and then earlier we were talking about Yzma. How she's one of the few villains that actually have a decent motive. I feel like I'm totally just taking this and running this with myself because like I'm the only one who's been talking, but it's like I love Disney villains. Buy them on Amazon. I'm kidding, not yet.
Not yet.
But look for them.
Yeah.
I might actually the entire like the psyche of Disney villains. I could
That'd be really interesting.
And,
Maybe
like-
to address them on a psychological level.
yeah, I
Yeah.
could definitely try.
I would love to read that actually.
I will. Okay, well, maybe that'll
Look
be.
for Justin's book on Amazon.
In like 5 months.
Audible.
But honestly, though,
4 or 5 months
if
from now.
I get this written, we could
publishing
honestly,
slow.
we could probably make this our own podcast. If I write this, I could bring this up and I could.
Yeah,
Right.
definitely. Of
I will
course.
definitely look into that more. But like Yzma, she's one of the few.
We can. Do you mind if we could get like some more?
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Yeah,
you guys
yeah,
take.
yeah.
I was waiting for you guys to like kiss her up.
I was gonna start off by mentioning Yzma, and then you took Yzma, and I was
Sorry,
like, oh, crap.
sorry.
Because I was like, oh, yeah, we mentioned Yzma, won't be a dead horse, but like, Yzma's pretty cool.
Sorry.
What do you think?
I don't know. I'm just listening to Justin.
He's really into this.
It's really interesting.
I've for a very short period of my life, for like 4 or 5 months, I would study the villains. I'd listen to their songs and I'd read up on them. I'm like, what makes them who they are?
Yeah.
I found that very interesting. Like, why do they want to take the happiness away from other people? And when we get backstories on them, I like reading to those. It's like, it's interesting to figure out what caused them to become evil.
Like Scar and Cinnamon.
Yes.
That's
What
funny,
really
though,
caused
because-
Scar to switch to the point where he's going from like the uncle of Simba and the brother of Scar to the fact where he wants to kill his own brother.
I mean, like, obviously he wants.
I think
He wants it's all power.
I think that's just like a Richard III type deal.
That's
where
true.
it's like-
That's very true.
The original Lion King's based on Macbeth, right? So.
Well, not really. It's
Really?
It's a bit not really Hamlet. It's a bit more based on the tragedy of King Henry IV.
Okay.
With the story of Prince Hal
Yeah.
being for Simba, which is an irresponsible child who wants to get all the powers without any of the responsibility. Goes through a growth
Yeah.
cycle and then comes back ready to become, the new king. The only thing that doesn't happen is that he doesn't, shun his old irresponsible partners. There's not a scene where, Simba's just like, fuck off, Timon and Pumbaa.
Fuck. Go away.
But it's very similar to Prince Henry IV.
Okay.
Part 1 and Part 2.
I've never really thought about that in that way, but yeah.
I just get really I don't get really upset, but I just like to bring that up because people beat the whole Hamlet.
No, I totally understand that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I was just saying it was funny because you like people who are very based on the motives that they have and the background and the logistics of it.
Mm-hmm.
Other than maybe Gaston, which I like because I like the concept of flipping what would be usually the archetypal hero and making them the villain.
Right.
And
I do
stuff,
enjoy
stuff like that. Yeah. All my favorite villains are villains that I just get a very visceral, emotional reaction.
No, I do understand that as well.
What are good examples? I brought up Red again from Great Mouse Detective. Maleficent from Sleeping Beauty.
Alright, yes, she's a very... Ooh, that's a good one.
That's a really good one. That's probably my favorite, if I could be honest.
Because also, going into story, I'm going to go off on a tangent for Maleficent a bit. Not getting invited to, the princess's, coronation, not getting an invitation, was basically one of the worst insults you could have in medieval times. Not getting invited to one of those parties was huge. So that's why she's not an invitation. Oh, this is so awkward. That's why she said. That's why her line is like that, because not getting invited was a social shun.
Yeah.
So that's why she was so upset about not getting invited, because everybody else in the kingdom and surrounding kingdoms were invited except for her.
Yeah.
All right, I'm done with that. You can keep going with whatever you want.
I really like the Queen of Hearts.
Ooh,
Wonderland. Yeah.
That you bring up a very good point.
I just like the fact that it's this lady who just acts like a fucking child.
You're not wrong.
And somehow she has everybody at her beck and call.
I hate
Yes.
that so much.
I just find that so fascinating, how somebody can gain so much power by being just so childish in her position.
Well, look at Donald Trump.
Yeah.
Okay, we're not bringing politics into this.
Topical.
I know it's topical.
But I just love how she's drawn and just how expressive she is.
Right.
I love that. What's another good one? I brought up Hades.
You did bring up Hades.
Hades?
Okay, I'm cool.
No! It's one that I love that's actually based on backstory and character background.
Yes, I'm intrigued.
Frollo from Hunchback.
You're right. You are very correct.
I think that might be my favorite.
I honestly, until this point, I forgot that was a movie. I mean, I mentioned it briefly past week or so, but as from the beginning of this podcast and now, I forgot that was a movie.
You forgot about
But you bring up a very good point. His villainous state is because there's really
it was really just a story about abuse of power.
Yes,
and how
he's very in charge, and when he feels like he's getting a little threatened, his power and his basically his fatherly figure, his fatherly question is getting challenged. He feels threatened, and he wants to he wants to have dominance over Quasimodo.
I also like the dichotomy of the whole thing with Quasimodo is that he has an attraction to Esmeralda.
Yes.
But when she gets with the soldier, he's fine with being a friend to Esmeralda.
Right.
Or with Frollo, it's I'm either we are a thing or she's dead.
Yes.
We are either in a state of sexual relations or she's going to be executed.
Absolutely.
And it's a story about how you can accept people for
right.
You can accept people for who they are as a person and not have to require them to be a very close emotional partner.
Right.
And how Frollo is the antithesis of that message.
Yes. I do agree with you.
That's the whole conceit of Hellfire.
Yes.
Either she is mine or she's going to die.
Yes. I'm trying to think of other movies we've talked about briefly. We talked about, and then I'm trying to think of their villains. But, alright, I'm gonna keep going, so... That was weird. Anyway, so, another villain that I'm going to bring up, I believe we talked about this movie. No, I know we did. We talked about Snow White, the evil queen. Her motives are because she's not the most beautiful, she's not the most pure, she's not the fairest. And when that happened, she's like, oh my god, I'm going to not, this isn't okay. So what does she do? And I mean, like, her logical person would go talk to the person, like, hey, blah, blah, blah. No, she's just like, nope, we're going to kill her. She's gone. Bye. It's like, I mean, I can understand, like, her point, because she feels threatened. And you can't do a lot about that back then, like, when you're a queen, and you're threatened by, like, queens are supposed to be, like, very beautiful and very in charge. But when there's a girl, a young girl who's more beautiful and who has the influence over people, like that Snow White did, she felt very threatened.
Yeah.
She's worried. I feel like, I don't believe this is actually mentioned, but I believe personally the queen felt threatened that she was going to lose her spot as queen because Snow White was going to convince everyone else that she deserved to be queen.
Yeah.
That's my take on it, so I find that very interesting. And then we can go to Princess and the Frog. Dr. Felicier.
Oh, that's a good one.
He is a very complex villain because he doesn't really have any motive.
I was just thinking that I liked him just because of like what I brought up earlier. I like characters that just give you a very strong emotional
He doesn't have a lot of motive. He just kind of does things because he's evil.
Intrinsically evil.
He's evil. He's influenced by these friends on the other side. He's influenced by these demons, by these spirits that are telling him to do these things to gather the power for him. But in reality, I feel like the demons themselves are feeding off his power that they're giving him, which is taking his life force away. So the demons themselves are becoming more powerful. But the fact that he uses this magic to trap people and make deals with them and gain this power, I find that purely evil, and I find that fascinating that somebody would go to that length to become powerful, is to take people, possibly even take their lives in order for him to become more powerful. I find that fascinating.
Keith David's that dude. He's the guy who does absolutely.
I'm sure it's awesome.
You know what's an interesting thing I wanted to bring up about Disney villains though?
Yeah.
Have you ever noticed that there's been a really big increase on the villains that are just red herrings?
Yes, I do. I would agree with you on that.
There's Hans in Frozen. And there's Mayor Bellwether in Zootopia.
Actually,
basically,
but the mayor is actually not the villain. It's his secretary. Do you remember the little sheep lady?
No, yeah, Mayor Bellwether is the sheep lady.
No, because the mayor was the lion.
No. Because what happens is that.
Oh no, you're right. Because but originally
they arrest him for like the charges of just being a predator.
Yes, that's true.
Because of the fact that because of Judy's research and how she thinks that there might be like a connection with like more visceral
which they're
not.
They're not. But there's
movie. But like because of that, he's stripped of his position of mayor.
Right, and then she becomes
it, and she's the one who masterminded the whole like making all the animals become more predatory.
Which that is an entire movie we could talk about itself in its diversity, and also in theory, the racism that goes on.
Oh no, yeah, but
the extreme racist movie that is. It's not an extremely racist movie, but it has different like parts of racism, and it also shows for the villain side that not all villains look scary. They're not. You can't judge somebody by who they are because throughout the whole movie, spoilers if you haven't seen this movie, but it is a great movie though. I do highly recommend watching this movie. It's great. She's very innocent, very like klutzy, and it's very like, oh, you fall in love with her and you're great, and then you realize sooner or later you start noticing little quirks that are slowly coming out as the movie.
She's very transgressive towards. To the mayor, because she's not the secretary. I believe she's like whatever.
IT? No, she's IT.
She's basically. I want to say lieutenant. I forgot that it's mayor, not a governor, but it's like the equivalency of like a lieutenant governor, like the assistant.
She's like. I thought she was like because I know she works and she doesn't.
Assistant to the regional manager.
But yeah, she gets those little quirks that just kind of like pop out, and you're like, wait, really? Yeah. And you like start to see your character build. Until the point, because you don't even know. When I first saw the movie, I didn't see it coming until the end. And I'm like, whoa, what?
she's the villain. I just wanted to bring up the point that it just seems interesting that Disney's trying to push more towards like people that you don't expect as the villain.
No, I definitely understand that.
I personally like, I don't know.
And not a specific person.
Right. And then we can go into the theory with Moana, which also a great movie.
Yeah.
But the part that there really isn't an actual like full villain.
Yeah.
There's not really a villain, which I find very fascinating that they were able to do the whole thing, and basically the antagonizing force was basically
the troubles you faced along
the troubles that you faced, and then the relationship between Maui and Moana, how it was such butt heads to be in power and be in charge. That was a strong antagonizing force, and then there was Taka, but it wasn't really Taka, it was Te-Fiti, and then that was a whole other concept we can go into.
Game changer,
it was a very big game changer because she was also the first Disney princess.
Was she a princess?
She technically is because she's the daughter of a chief.
Yeah,
okay. She was also one of the first female Disney characters to have a decent body type.
Yeah.
She had like slight fat rolls on the legs. She didn't have a thin waist. But that movie overall was very well put together, very well formed.
Yeah. She didn't just not have a love interest, but there was no mention of anything of the sort. Like with what's it called, Brave?
Yes.
Like she didn't have a love interest whatsoever, but they mentioned like, oh, I'll be shooting for my own hand. Like I don't need one. But that was just nowhere to be seen.
Yes, that's also why it was very breathtaking.
Point that she didn't need a man. She just didn't.
Right.
She made her own point of it.
Yeah.
Like just kind of went off and did it.
Then we can go into
I guess personally I just wanted to say that even though it's interesting to have the red herring thing, I kind of like the concept of
an actual villain.
Yeah, because I just feel like there's something very interesting about having a primary source of struggle.
Yes.
To kind of because I feel like at times I like the idea of becoming a bit more complex narrative-wise, but at the same time I feel like that can become a beaten horse as much as like having a traditional villain. But the thing is that traditional villains definitely have more of a feeling of, so like people love talking about Disney villains.
Yes.
And if you just build up a bunch of movies where like the villains are like red herrings that don't get exposed until like the third act, you kind of like stifle the market.
Mm-hmm.
And even then, like who was really like the last big Disney villain?
The last big Disney
villain that people just really like took to.
Mother Gothel.
No, I wouldn't say that.
But she was the last.
She was the last one.
She was the last official.
But she wasn't somebody that people like really got like attached to in her personality and what she.
I would have to disagree with you. I feel like people related to her because like a lot of parents were related to her because she was just trying to protect this thing that she loved from the outside world.
That is not what she was.
But technically, but in theory. But you could technically, but she loved Rapunzel in the way that she didn't really treat her as a human. She treated her as a thing, but she loved that thing and she didn't want anybody else to have it. So she was protecting it from the outside world.
I think what he's trying to say is that it's kind of like when people criticize somebody like Bono for doing charity for egotism. Like, why do you do charity for egotism? You should do it for like charity from your good heart. Where I would say something along the lines of like, well, he's still giving money to charity, and any money to charity is good money. So I mean, like, even if she's doing it, it's
a very selfish reason, but she's still trying to protect.
But she's still trying to make sure that this person doesn't get like.
It's not that she doesn't want Rapunzel to be hurt; it's that she doesn't want people to find Rapunzel, realize she's the princess, and take her away.
Right.
She just doesn't want people to take.
I also feel like
she doesn't care anything. Like if she could have just the hair, she would.
Right, but she's tried and she failed. But I also feel like, in a sense. I feel like Mother Gothel also feels like Rapunzel's mother in that sense because she's very caring. At least to Rapunzel's face, she's very caring about her. She's trying to make her comfortable as much as possible, as far as her tower will allow it to. And I find that like she's trying to be like she thinks what she's doing is. I feel like she's one of the people that a lot of villains a lot of people in general feel like what they're doing is the right thing, but it's really not.
I don't think she's.
I feel like and a part of her feels like she's doing the right thing. I feel like somewhere in here she feels like she's doing the right thing, but it doesn't show on the outside. Again, going into the psyches and like the what they're thinking, which I will eventually write about and hopefully be able to share with us.
Yeah.
I know I have a plan now. I will do this. I am going to write this paper. It's going to be like a 50-page paper.
I will agree with you that she probably, like, in some way feels like her mother, because the relationship between her and Rapunzel is not like it was with Anna and Hans, where, like,
Right, of course.
he likes her to her face and behind her back he can't stand her.
Right.
Mother Gothel's relationship with Rapunzel is the one she presents to Rapunzel.
Right.
Like, she's sarcastic with her, and she's, like, nitpicky with her, and that comes from a genuine connection she has to Rapunzel. And, I mean, I wouldn't say she's a good mother, or
No, she's no.
like,
To no extent, she's a good mother.
At all. But, I mean, it's her own warped way of being motherly,
Yes.
I guess.
That's what I'm trying to get at.
But even then, going back to what I'm saying, I never felt like there was like a giant upheaval of just like I really like.
Okay, but I do get you're coming up.
I feel like if we really did, I mean, maybe Dr. But even then, I wouldn't say
even
Dr.
that
Facility.
it would have to. I don't know, but
probably the last like really like well liked Disney villain would probably be like Hades from her.
Yeah.
I would
say that.
I would have to agree with you on
And
that
that
as
movie came out
well.
like 20 years ago.
Yes.
So,
Really?
yeah.
20 years.
1997. Really?
Really?
Yeah.
Oh my god.
That's 20. Okay.
That's
20
All
years
right.
ago.
I think I'm gonna talk about one more villain, and then we can move on to the next topic if we have time.
I haven't said anything.
But I think
villains.
you're going to like this one. I want to talk about Jafar.
Oh, okay, yeah, cool.
Because
Jafar as well.
Jafar is a villain who I believe is also kind of in the sense of Yzma and kind of the evil queen, in the sense where all they want is power. He wants,
control.
and then Dr. Phyllis here as well. They want power, and they will go to whatever length it will take to get that power and to keep their status where it is. Like with Jafar, he's willing to kill Aladdin, who is disguised as a prince. He's willing to kill him in order to make his power stand where it is and be able to have that influence.
Yeah, definitely. I think it's a really cool thing to point out too. Is what's interesting about Jafar compared to someone like what were the names you mentioned? I'm sorry.
Dr. Phyllis, the evil queen, and then Scar in this case as well. All the ones who
I think
Scar wants to be in power. He wants to rule, which as the movie goes on, Jafar eventually becomes the Sultan for a small point in time.
Yeah.
The same thing with Ursula.
That is also true.
I was gonna mention Ursula
Actually,
as well.
really in general, all Disney villains want power. Most of them.
I feel like with Scar though, I don't think he wants necessarily the power that comes with the position because he doesn't respect the responsibility that it would take.
That's true.
You see like the Pride Lands fall apart.
Right, that is very true.
I feel like it's more or less he wants to be respected like his brother.
Okay. Yes, I forgot about that small part,
like,
but yes,
Scar
I definitely.
wants respect. Jafar wants power.
Yes.
I don't think he wants power. I think he just wants the position, like being.
He wants the position because he already has the power.
He already has the power. He's.
But at the same time,
like,
once he becomes
advisor,
he always wants. All villains
you want more and more. Eventually,
that's your downfall, which was his.
Villain.
Which was Jafar's downfall because at the final scene where he wished to become a genie,
he
gets trapped,
into the lamp.
he gets the ultimate power, but
at the cost of freedom to use it.
At the cost of your freedom being taken away.
Exactly.
Which they go into more detail about that in Aladdin 2,
which I haven't seen.
Which is mediocre at best. It's not a great one, but
the music is fun.
But
that's your excuse for
it's a lot darker. It's a very dark movie.
Really?
It's very dark.
I don't remember. I just remember
Aladdin again almost dies.
Oh yeah, pretty good.
Aladdin dies or almost gets killed.
Jafar's Return.
Yes.
Yeah, and then King of Thieves is just like wow.
Oh, I didn't see that one.
I remember kind of liking King of Thieves.
I never saw that.
He asked me to save you.
Yeah.
But with Return of Jafar, it gets to the point where Jafar, since he is a genie, he gets let free. So he has all of this power.
That's what the consequence is.
Free now. Well, not entirely free, but he gets let out of the lamp, and
Yeah,
he's under the he has a master, but
Yeah.
he's like whispering these things to this man to let him do these things to other people.
Manipulating.
But
For the
it's
power
to the
that
point
he
where
has.
Aladdin gets found, or they're together. Aladdin and Jasmine are together. But Jafar somehow like splits them apart, like romantically at one point, if I remember this correctly. And then it gets to the point where Jafar convinces Jasmine that Aladdin killed the Sultan. Which it gets, but he's not. Jafar captured the Sultan and is in the dungeon. But then he's able to transform himself into Jasmine to do all these things and get Aladdin arrested. And then eventually he gets to the point where he is on the chopping block, ready to be executed. It's to that point.
I forgot
It's
about
that
scene.
far. It's like the blade is coming down,
Yeah.
and he almost dies. And it's like, Disney, what the hell are you doing? All right,
Robin
okay.
Williams comes in. Nope.
No, was it?
Wasn't
Wasn't it the rug? Wasn't it the
I
carpet?
believe it was the carpet.
It was the carpet.
I was just gonna bring up that Robin Williams doesn't voice the genie in Jafar.
Oh, he doesn't?
Dan Castellaneta.
Oh, you're right.
Oh.
Dan
You're
Castellaneta
right.
and Homer Simpson.
Oh, okay. So I
The only
think.
other thing I know him
What
from.
about the short-lived TV series?
That was also Dan Castellaneta.
Oh, that could be an entire series on itself.
Bringing up on the thing.
Robin Williams does voice the genie in the third one.
Okay, I need to see that because I feel like I might have seen it.
But I feel like what we could do is like a wrap up topic.
Yes.
So we can just wrap this up. Is that since we talked about villains, and even though villains are fun to talk about, they're not really the thing that we're supposed to
Idolized.
Yeah.
they're fun because they're devilish, but like they're not real.
So
Because no one's gonna be like, you know who's one of my favorite villains? Stalin. You know what? Folk was majorly like high key Idi Amin.
Okay, well hold on. Let's
Like, no one does
not disparage. No. I'm kidding.
okay, so
Topical.
wrap up topic.
Oh no, but wrap up topic that I wanted to try to do.
Okay.
Since the main point of Disney is you're supposed to kind of like empathize with like
You wish upon a star.
you're supposed to have a feeling of like empathization and whatnot. You like
With the hero.
yeah, protagonists.
Yeah.
Who are protagonists that you really have like a kinship with.
Protagonists. All right. Do we have? Could it be a sidekick? Because there are lots of sidekicks that are
I mean, it has to be somebody that you feel like is a positive force.
a positive force.
within the film.
Is
Okay.
this just any protagonist that we like?
Yeah, favorites.
Okay. I have a couple. One of mine is Flounder, because he's just kind of there. Not a lot of people remember him, but he's very caring. He's very sweet, and he's trying to convince Aaron's like, no, this isn't the right thing to do. You shouldn't do this. He's trying to help in the best way possible.
Yeah.
But he's trying.
Just that gumpy.
He's trying the best way. He's trying the best that he can, and I find that so admirable about him because he's trying so hard, and it doesn't work. He's tried so hard,
And
And he's scared of everything.
Shut the fuck up.
He's
And then-
scared of everything. He's always right there, like behind
right?
the
And then,
airport.
in that same sense,
Oh,
another one from one of my favorites is Sally.
From Nightmare?
Yes,
Yeah.
she's very newborn. She's very newborn. She's not very experienced with this world that she's in because of this fatherly figure that she has,
Yeah.
Dr. Finkelstein, who is there to like kind of protect her, but not really.
Yeah.
But but towards the end, she's like she's realizing because of her vision, she's realizing this isn't a good idea. We shouldn't mess with forces we don't know. And when they do, she realizes I need to stop this, and I need to try and stop this. And she tries, she almost succeeds, but it fails, and then it makes more stress on Jack because then he has to go save her. But yeah, it's Flounder and Sally are two very strong characters that are very influential and very.
Do you just like characters who are very innocent in nature? But
Yeah.
also have a good heart?
But at the same time, I love a good villain. So it's like I'm very both ends of the spectrum.
Yeah.
Very very innocent, very evil.
Or the good thing, I want to mention Pete as a Disney villain from Steamboat Willie. That doesn't.
Okay.
He's just like he's basically just a brute.
Yeah, pretty much.
He's just kind of there.
And that's what I think is really interesting about it, because later in adaptations and things like Kingdom Hearts,
You're right. He's a huge villain.
He's bumbling, but he's like still really important.
Yeah.
It's this really interesting play where normally like a villain is competent in what they do at the very least, or at least knows how to go about it. He just kind of stumbles through it and is like a second hand, like second-rate villain who's trying to be.
No, yeah, I totally agree with you on that.
Yeah, and I like how, especially in like you played the second game, right?
Partial.
Have you played it up to the point where you get to the actual Steamboat Willie stage in the game?
I don't believe I have.
Okay, well basically they do the new Pete and the old Pete, and the old Pete becomes an ally to like Sora and Donald and Goofy, and the old Pete's there like being a douchebag. I think it's just really funny how they
Side
combine
note,
those two things.
Kingdom Hearts is a great game. I highly recommend it. It's a good mix of.
I had to mention it at some point because it's.
I know it's
Disney and Square Enix. But
it's
no one has
it's
ever
kind of
played
Disney,
it.
but yeah, I highly recommend you guys go play that.
Yeah.
I feel like I'm kind of the host now for some reason, but I don't know why.
Play the because you took it off of villains.
Yeah, and I just kind of like this is my show now.
Control the show now.
Yeah.
This is my show now, guys. Sorry.
Yeah, when it comes to the
it's our show.
Sorry, Miranda. It's Miranda's show. Yeah. I want to mention you play the remasters of the games.
Yes.
Do not get the original PS2 copy of the original game or the second game.
I mean, or if you really want to, you can.
But it doesn't look as great as it could. You can do the HD and it looks really great. The original game has a lot of really weird control options that are really annoying to function with. So I just get really mad.
But we can go into more detail on this.
That's like a whole like video game special.
Or just a Kingdom Hearts special itself.
Yeah, because there's a lot to discuss.
There's a lot to discuss.
Canon, the non-canon world. The non-canon world isn't necessarily non-canon.
The Keyblades, the villains.
The cool key design overall.
I mean, that's gonna be more I'm not gonna show up.
Yeah,
I'm also not gonna show up to that.
It'll just be us.
It probably might just be the two of us because I can't think of anyone else. Maybe Mike. I think Mike's playing.
Like Mike and maybe like Riley.
Yeah, I think Riley. I don't know. I think Riley's playing.
I mean, even just a two-person podcast would be great.
Yeah, that'd be cool.
Then it's like
it's like a backlist of people who know it really well.
Right.
Yeah.
But definitely, if you guys haven't already, look into it.
Definitely.
And like, if you have, comment below and let us know like what your favorite
Like, comment, and subscribe.
Like, comment, and subscribe if you play Kingdom Hearts.
3, which is coming out in 2018.
Ooh, is it really?
I'm
intrigued.
If you say yes whenever you agree with our opinion, you have to start the video again, like, share, and subscribe.
But definitely
I'm gonna game the fucking system. Yo. I'm gonna game this fucking system for all y'all. We're gonna be successful, and we're gonna do it by cheating.
But definitely though,
thank you for bringing the bad news bears logic into this. We're gonna be good because we suck.
Yeah, definitely. If you guys do end up watching this, please let us know.
If you have like Kingdom Hearts, let us know in the comments because it's really interesting to see people who have.
Because we also leave comments below of what you want the next podcast to be about.
Oh yeah.
Because we'd always love the input.
Who knows? We're not wrapping this up just yet though, so don't go into like the whole like, comment, and subscribe.
Right? No. I'm just saying like comment.
Yeah. Like, I am interested. But
anyway,
so
I mentioned mine. You mentioned Pete.
I was gonna take it real quick, and I want to throw in Pete real quick.
Okay. Yeah.
Really cool,
so then.
A really interesting thing that he doesn't really come up too much.
Right.
Mulan.
Is a protagonist.
Really?
Protagonist. I do really like Mulan as protagonist.
Okay, I can
simultaneously
for being a fucking badass.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
For simultaneously being a badass and
yet
being. I like how it's interesting to see a character who's both very strong and very insecure at the same time, which is a very uncommon thing that could still work. Mulan accomplishes that on like a perfect level where you see her just take on this persona and just fucking do it.
Yeah.
And be really good at it.
Yeah.
And then finally get the respect when she kind of comes out and it's like, oh yeah, I'm actually a woman. Like this is.
She's
incredibly brave.
Right.
And I like that because initially she's like very worried about it.
Yes.
And then there's the whole be a man sequence where she becomes comfortable with the idea and like establishes herself and then she's like, I am brave. I am a woman. I am going to save China.
Mulan is one of those movies that has like a really strong central character and central conflict, like in an internal level at least.
Yeah.
But it's just bogged down by the fact that like all the side characters I just don't really like all that much.
There are no that movie has very few good characters.
Mushu is like the one.
No.
I love Mushu.
Mushu, okay. That's another.
The only guy everything I liked was who's the general's name again? The one who sings on Be a Man. Shang.
He's a good character.
Father, and that's about it. That's the problem.
Okay, but then you have to bring up the grandmother. Because the grandmother is just...
She just has like 3 lines.
But her character... No, actually, she actually has a very big influence on the first movie.
Yeah.
She's a very big influence on the first movie. or somewhat, but definitely, yeah, I do agree with you on that. I forgot that was you. I kept looking at Zach.
Yeah,
that was.
I'm trying to look through other movies that I'm forgetting because I know that
I know there are also. We might
There's
just.
many movies to discuss.
We might just have to. We might just have to do a second one.
Contra from Emperor's New Groove. I'm gonna go ahead and throw Emperor's New Groove into this.
All right. Okay.
I think he's just a really interesting combination of a really responsible father figure and someone who does not want to take anyone's shit.
He just does not give a fuck.
Yeah, he's like, fuck you, Cusco, I'm gonna get you back so that I can keep my house.
Okay.
But I don't like you. And then he's eventually like, okay, yeah, fine, I like you.
Miranda,
You're decent.
You're decent. Yeah, you could be better, but I'll respect it.
Miranda, you got any good ones?
My favorite have to be Ariel and Belle.
Okay.
I would definitely go with Belle, but I'm not sure.
I might have to disagree with you on Ariel just because she is probably one of the stupidest characters.
She's really
entire
funny.
Well, no, I wouldn't say she's stupid.
No, she's very naive.
She's not. Well, she's
naive, but also at points she's very stupid.
I don't think she's
She
stupid. I
acts
think
very.
She's innocent.
She acts stupid, but she's.
She
has this innocence and, like you said, naivety that I think it really drives her decisions.
I just
more
feel-
than it should.
I-
I don't
yes.
think her a stupid character.
I just feel like people don't really realize how much of a proactive person she is, and I feel like that kind of gets buried in the mix of she's very naive and she doesn't understand what she's getting herself into.
Right.
And if I was in that situation, even then, with me kind of standing up for her a little bit, I still never saw her as like an incredibly interesting character. I saw her more as like a means of moving things along with all these other more interesting characters.
I mean, for the second half of the movie, she doesn't have a single line, basically.
Yeah, but she's
Which
really
is-
like
She uses
Body language. Ha!
But there's so many great scenes though that
that's some really
works-
good foreshadowing of her losing her voice. I didn't even realize that.
There's just so many good scenes of like how she uses like
body
her.
language comment.
You realize though
Like
that happens. She literally mentions like she needs her voice.
Yeah.
Then she goes into the body language
Yeah,
part.
I know. Yeah, I never thought about how that.
I was just thinking about like all the physical like nature, like the physicalities that she does. Like I always think of like the scene where she sees the fork and then she tries to start combing her hair. She's so excited. She's like, that's such like a great scene of comedy.
And everyone's like, what the fuck? And she's like,
That's
not what
good.
I'm supposed to do.
Okay.
But like, yeah, I
I do
definitely agree with Belle in the sense
Yes.
that like, I just like the fact that she's somebody who like uses her kindness to a point of just like what she feels is like just to be a decent human being. I mean, the thing that I always get really like peeved by is the whole whole conceit of like Belle is somebody who suffers from a form of Stockholm syndrome.
Right.
Which is weird because as soon as like Beast gets like really fucking angry with her, she's like, "Alright, I'm gonna fucking leave."
Bye.
Yeah.
And she only comes back when he saves her. And so I feel like she's kind and she understands people to a point, but she's not like somebody who's just like a pushover.
Uh-huh.
She has her own sort of like motives, her own sort of belief system, her own sort of like willpower.
Yeah.
Okay.
And that's what's so interesting about her as a
Yeah.
character in a sense.
I'm also gonna want to bring up. This is probably one of the last few ones, but I want to bring up Nani again.
Yeah, I was about to bring up Lilo and Nani.
Because I've kind of figured you were because we had a discussion about this earlier. She's a very realistic character.
Yeah.
She doesn't give a lot of shits. She doesn't deal with people's shit, but she cares about Lilo and she will make sure that she's okay.
Yeah.
She's like a motherly figure, but she's trying her best. She's working. She's trying her best to make this happen, to make Lilo comfortable, to keep her alive. But she, at the same time, she has that sisterly love where she's playing around with Lilo. She makes it feel like they're sisters, but she's not the mother. She's not this impeding force. She's just a sister that's trying to help.
Yeah.
And that's what I love about her character.
Oh, you know what's a character that I really like?
Okay, yeah, you didn't actually have the same one. I'm sorry. I jumped back in here again.
Like I kind of like piggyback off of Miranda's Belle.
Right, that's
but,
true.
The one I really like is Alice from Alice in Wonderland.
Okay.
In the sense that
She's useless.
fucking
What?
Oh my god. Oh my god. No, it's just I just had this conclusion that there are like two different types of children's movies.
Uh-huh.
There's one that are films that could be adult films.
Yes.
But they just kind of clean it up and make it a bit more simplified for a younger audience.
Yeah, of course.
And then there's movies that are about children and how they act as children. And sometimes there are movies with children, but they don't act like children.
Right.
Like Home Alone. I like Home Alone, but Macaulay Culkin does not fucking act like an actual 8-year-old.
No, of course not.
But like, I just feel like Alice is somebody who acts like a child.
Yes.
She's smart to like her ability, and she definitely can hold her own. But when you put up with as much bullshit as she did in that movie,
oh my god, she put up with so much.
You get frustrated and upset.
Of course.
And, you get sad because you're not being able to control the situation. Every child wants to control the situation.
Right, and the fact that she can't, that she doesn't understand what's going on.
And I just like the fact that somebody wrote a character that's a child, like an actual child, not somebody who's just
who's
an
a child
adult in child's clothing.
Yeah. I do agree with you on that. Like she wants to be able to control the situation, but everything around her is so weird and so unnatural. She can't do anything about it, which causes her to panic. Yeah. And then suddenly she's like, why am I here? I just want to go home. Yeah. I can't control the situation. I want to go home. Yeah. I don't feel safe.
Yeah. Yeah. There's a lot of really great, like, early period, like before Walt Disney passed away, heroines in Disney films.
Yes, of course.
Her's a good example. Wendy from Peter Pan's a really good example.
I haven't seen Peter Pan in a very long time, so I don't know. I don't remember.
I think it's because of the fact that she definitely has, like, it's sort of the same thing with Belle. She has a kindness and she definitely wants to do good by others, but she definitely has a point in which she gets fed up and wants to stop doing whatever they're doing.
Okay.
Especially because of the fact that she's the only female character.
That's also okay. Well.
Sausage party. She's just like, I'm sick of this.
Okay, but and not entirely true.
Like, in the middle of the movie, like while they're doing the horrible racist scene, she decides she's gonna go home, and she's like, "No, I'm going home," and then she marches home. Yeah. So like,
why is the red man red?
Yeah.
I'm very confused as to why they put that in there. But that is another topic for another time.
We could entirely discuss a lot of the racism over undertones and all.
Oh, of course.
Sequel.
Especially in Zootopia, the amount of like the segregations of the animals in Zootopia alone.
Doesn't come up at all. Like it feels like a very strange thing.
It's very strange, and how she's
and then like Dumbo.
Dumbo too.
With the crows. Yeah.
The entirety of Song of the South was made. Which we need to discuss, like...
Oh my god,
why would you bother to make that?
Right, and then I'm sure there's a bunch of...
But like symbolism Alice, Wendy are good examples. Going back, another one I mentioned, Lady from Lady and the Tramp is like
of course.
Really good one.
Yes.
Who else do I really like from like really early, like pre-Walt passing away? I'm trying to think of some good ones. I'm kind of drawing a blank.
But I mean,
I guess there's somebody like a Mary Poppins.
Yes.
Just
ooh.
I was actually about to say
Mary Poppins, mainly just because of the fact that my main thing is that I always feel like some people give a lot of Disney characters the credit of being too nice or too like kind to a point where they think they're like pushovers, or they just don't really have any backbone to themselves. But like the whole thing that makes Mary Poppins so interesting is that like, she's still somewhat strict as a nanny. I mean, she does like fun stuff with the kids, but she definitely wants shit to get done in the way that Mr. Banks wants it done.
Like with every job there is an element of fun.
They're still making them clean up their room,
but they're having fun doing it. But also with that in mind, she is able to be with this family for so long. And then she's able to detach herself, not be attached to these kids, and leave, and move on to the next problem. Which I find very fascinating.
I also love the fact that they'll do something like, they'll actually do something fun. Like they'll go into the animated world with Bert the Chimney Sweep. And then you'll come back like, well, we went on the carousels and you won the horse race. Like, we went on a horse race. I wouldn't be caught dead by being a horse race, She basically denies anything they've ever seen because she feels as if by acknowledging like, that was like a really like fun, exciting thing, it's gonna make him seem like she's just somebody who's going to just do fun stuff with them all the time. That's such an interesting
that movie also is very, very, we can go into a lot of detail with that movie because it's a very, and then we can go into the movie Save Mr. Banks, where how the author of Mary Poppins, the original Mary Poppins, was when she was helping them write the movie,
Yeah,
and she was very upset with it because
Are
it was.
you kidding? She's way too nice.
She's way too nice because the lady that she was based off of was very strict, very mean, and the fact that they made her very nice was. And how like this whole story had an emotional attachment to her, and that they were kind of changing it in the ways that she didn't like, really threw her off.
Yeah.
But that is a story for another time. I can go into huge detail about that.
Seems like a rabbit hole of to no end.
Right, because those two movies together connecting are very. I'm very happy they made that movie because it was very strong. It made me want to go watch the movie again and realize like, oh, look at that! This is a very decent movie, and now I know the significance behind the story and why it was made.
Yeah.
Well,
I think that's kind of
that's a good way to end.
That's a good point. Yeah.
I feel like I was thinking like 3 hours would be like the max that I would want to take this, and yeah, we basically
we hit 3 hours.
All right.
Yeah.
Well,
so, thank you guys so much for watching the first episode of the Food for Thought podcast. This has been Zach, Tristan, Miranda, and I.
We'll probably invite more people.
Yeah, we'll be cycling people in and out, different hosts probably if new topics come up that some of us can't, like.
Really like it, good.
Yeah, for example, music for me, I really couldn't go too into detail.
Right, but there's others.
Unless we're talking about like a cinematic aspect.
Right.
Yeah, music build scenes, that'd be about the only
but like,
or like, to an extent for creative writing, I guess.
Right, and definitely with this topic, I'm hoping to get that whole villains thing down. Well, that'll be an entire thing on itself.
Definitely let us know.
Yeah, or even if it's in the process, if I can get enough, if I can get enough villains written about, I will definitely come back with that and be like, hey, we need to do something about this.
Will this be like a sort of like non-fiction, like a non-fiction sort of like novel type book, or will this be like a coffee table type deal?
I'm gonna go more into the fact where I'm gonna go into each individual character and go into more detail.
Well, I'm saying like, are you gonna make it like where you can have like photos and like sort of like photo evidence and whatnot, or are you just gonna be kind of like writing it as if it's like a non-fiction?
I think for starting, I'm just gonna have to be a non-fiction thing, but I can throw in pictures to show evidence. I can.
Sometimes when people write about films, they like.
That's true. Yeah, I do understand that. Yeah.
Because like film is such a visual medium that it works better as like a coffee table book than it does as like a book.
Yeah, absolutely. But I will definitely look for that in the future. Yeah. Maybe it'll get published. Maybe, I don't know. But if it does,
you can probably self-publish it.
I could self-publish it.
Yeah, I'm sure.
And then,
you want to. Yeah. If you're really confident in it.
Yeah, so definitely look for that. Look for the next podcast that's going to come up
at some point. I mean,
soon.
We were just cracking jokes and making up topics like.
Yeah, I mean, like even if you don't tune in, we're just probably still making another one because it was fun.
Yeah, of course. Yeah,
it adds a little bit of like relaxation to. I mean, all of us are like really busy.
Yes, we're all very like this college is very stressful. So this was a very nice.
Yeah, totally.
It's kind of like for you guys to listen to us. And us to vent to you guys about things that we like.
Yeah.
Just kind of like just have us on in the background.
Yeah, just have us on the background because you don't really have to watch just because we're not very fun to watch. We're fun to listen to.
It's the whole time here, people. I don't know.
We're not fun to watch. We're just fun to listen to.
Yeah.
Because we're kind of boring watching. But yeah. Well, I mean,
you're a singer, so.
And you're also yeah.
I'm the only female, so yay me.
So far.
I didn't want to bring that up because I felt like that'd be kind of weird if I brought that up, but like also.
I'm the token girl.
She's the girl. I'm the gay. He's the nerd.
It's only.
What does that make me?
If it's consistent.
I don't really.
The actual host here.
Hey yo, what up?
we got
this fucking. I don't even fucking like this dude.
Oh no.
Damn, ouch.
I'm gonna fucking drop the mic and peace out, okay, y'all?
Wait, don't drop my mic.
That was $110 mic.
I'm not gonna drop
we got the gay, we got the girl, we got the nerd.
Okay, alright, so.
This guy.
Yeah. Thank you everyone for tuning in. It's the end of the podcast. Hope you guys enjoyed it.
Thank you.
Comment.
Yeah.
Suggest more topics in the bottom. We might get down to favorites. See you guys in the next one. Thanks so much.
Bye.